Hello there, everybody, and welcome back to the European Fall Open. And happy Europe Day to everybody out there as well. It has been a thrilling tournament so far, and we are here to set the action for you and set the table for what should be a brilliant Championship Sunday. I'm Sugar, and joined by Johnny, Cole, and a Stumpy that...
Oh, no! It was going so well! It was going so
If anyone's
well.
wondering why we were laughing when we came back, it's because Stumpy just about survived with a microsecond to spare. We all hold it together.
No! Cameron, please!
I haven't heard our producer once since that just happened.
He's given up
He
on
is
it.
mortified.
He's run off. He's situation.
Stumpy, very quickly, you need to get like a screenshot just to have in the background should we need it.
Right.
Anyway, hi, hello. Let's just get Stumpy off the screen, shall we? Let's instead have a look at the Swiss and what happened over on Friday. Okay, lads, resettle. Let's get into this.
Reset.
Because 8 teams went through. They were very happy about how Friday went.
It's the green ones. That's the 8 teams that went through. The ones in
Let's
the
not
green
talk
at the
about
top.
green right
Speaking
now.
of green,
no.
where's Stumpy?
I'm still here. My camera's not broken once. Never mind. It's happening now. Okay.
Make
we're
sure
fine.
it's plugged in properly. It's probably.
I have,
plugged in.
Johnny.
Okay,
I
yeah.
have.
you want,
I'll
mate,
go around.
It's
I've
not
got
maybe you
it
had
on
the thought of
webcam
that.
if you want.
I'll do something later. I'm only on to cars. We've only got half an hour to get through.
Just get a screenshot of yourself and put it in play. You've got. I believe it.
Look, you've got 2
Ridiculous.
minutes, okay? Because we're going to take a look through some of the highlights that we had from yesterday.
What a world.
Just to make your life even easier, Stumpy, what really stood out for you yesterday as we take a look through some of these highlights?
Well, I was about to go fix stuff, Shogun, but now you're talking to me.
Well,
so
you know.
I was a big fan of seeing Oxygen and Gamers First. Then it comes down. I'm gonna go, right, shut up. I'm gonna go fix this. Johnny, what did you think of yesterday?
Cole save us. He's
Oh, what did you think?
I'm a savior. Wow, there's Mark by 8. He's absolutely loving it for Gamers First. They couldn't quite win in the end, sadly, because Oxygen are really darn good. I love watching this team play. I love how quickly they pass the ball. And that leads us, Johnny, your turn, mate. Take over, make this good between Quadrant and Team BDS.
Look at this. We've got BDS just storming away to the lead like we all expected. But then, out of nowhere, Quadrant. And I think this guy on your screen right here, mainly Ixo, with an otherworldly performance. What a step up. They just scraped into this event through the qualifier, and now they're in the top 4.
Yep, and I hope we get to see it. Oh, okay, not quite. They shushed everybody after that match was finished. They told everybody, do not disagree with our decisions ever again. We made the right moves for our careers, and now they're in a fantastic spot, especially when it comes to potential positions over at Rotterdam. But here was the match. That really was sort of a setting stone, maybe the most dominant match that we got yesterday. Karmine Corp were a level above from Tundra, and for Tundra, I don't dislike what I saw. I feel like they went in for a game plan, but it was just too much.
Oh, I love that little flip reset in the end there, though. Moist versus Team Liquid. We knew there'd be goals galore. There's about 15 billion flip resets. Stumpy Pal, what did you think of Moist versus Team Liquid? We casted it.
It was wonderful, even if it was a touch heartbreaking, because Liquid lost 2 big old overtimes. Moist in the end, though, I think they were just controlling the series a little bit better. Liquid were slow to start, and then I don't think they got that back nearly as quickly as they realistically needed to. It then came down to, it was game 6. Moist, they could just pull it out of the bag. Liquid, they were struggling towards the end of the series, and that's when Moist really started to turn it on. Hence, we see them in our semi-finals.
Yeah, this is your bracket for today. We had our quarterfinals yesterday. I'm sure we were all very good at predicting those. Nobody only got one of them right, that's for certain. And here are our semifinals. Moist Esports against Karmine Corp and Quadrant versus Oxygen. This is what they are playing for as well, as we take a look over at the prize pool and the points. 16 points if you go ahead and win the entire tournament today. Everybody that we've got here is already qualified for 2 weeks' time in our next European regional. It's all about now just getting yourself as far ahead as possible, because there are a lot of teams, guys, that did not make this top 4 that you'll be looking and saying, surely they're going to make at least one of these top 4s moving forward. Johnny, I mean, BDS especially is the big one that we're looking at. Surely that makes life harder for everybody else, not the shoo-in that they once were.
Yeah, I think BDS, Team Liquid, and G1, I think they're all likely to make a top 4. I'm calling the 7 out of 8 teams. I don't want to, doubt Tundra too much, but they were the odd one out here. I think that they're the one one team in this top 8 that I'm not confident about making it again. Although, you know, they did it through Swiss round 4, so it's not like they weren't close to barely not making it. So, yeah, maybe they're just like going to be a great Swiss team next time around as well. We'll have to wait and see.
I love as well that yesterday you were like, yeah, there's a definite clear top 6 in EU.
Yeah,
now, one
for
day
me.
later, we're already on 8. It's going to be about 15 by the end of the second
7.
region, or a couple
7.
of time.
We're pretty
Big
comfortable
7.
with this, I feel. We'll get into this a little bit later on because I'm iffy about saying Big 7 on
7.
this. But let's have a look at our top plays. Cole, kick us off, please.
I will kick us off. I would absolutely love to. And it comes from the man that we highlighted in that little very smooth pre-show package we did, and it's Ixo. This came at 0 seconds. The clock ticked over about now. They were already 1-0 up against Team BDS, of course, at this point, but this is where they really made that statement that they could take down Team BDS. Ixo, who had been so good defensively and remained it in that entire series, he can score bangers too.
And their confidence after that series was wonderful to look at on Twitter. Speaking of confidence, Atto was going for pre-jumps the entire series between him and Oski, and finally it came down to that bottom left corner where he gets off that wall, meets the ball with the pre-flip, and can then just about squeak it in. Maybe the only spot in the goal where he was ever going to score, because otherwise Joyo had the net covered perfectly.
And at number 1, we have Rise Flip Reset winner. This was the goal to not just win the game, but also to win the series against Team Liquid. The final match of the day, this sent Moist into the semi-finals for the grudge match that we're all looking forward to between Moist and Karmine Corp. The double grudge match. We've got Vatira versus his old team, Azra versus his old team, but Rise, just having to remind everybody why he's one of the best strikers in the world.
Yeah, a really, really fun day of Rocket League that we had yesterday. We've had so many Game 7s. So Champions Field has been seen an awful lot, and maybe today we can add even more chapters to that field history. But this was supposed to be the easy parts of the pre-show. Now let's move on to the wacky things on this. We are going to a segment called Drawing Inspiration. What has happened?
Whose idea was
prior? It was Cole's.
Sorry.
All right.
I
It was
regret everything already.
100% Cole's. Before today's show, I gave them about an hour before we went live, each one player to draw. You can see where the problems with this have come. There has been sort of a linear curve of the first 20 minutes just being sheer pain is all I could hear from all of them. And then there was some confidence that I started to hear.
Pick yourself.
I'm confident.
I feel great.
Do you guys mind if I start with Stumpy? I don't know how long we have on his camera, so let's just get this done.
Let's get me done. I would have been gutted if I made this drawing and then...
We're going to show it, and then we're all going to try and find out. I want to see if you at home as well can try and figure out who this is.
You ready?
No.
Never.
That's not bad.
Oh, wait, I know who that is. That's
not bad.
Oh,
I know who that is. I know who that is, definitely.
All right, Johnny, who is it?
Wait, Cole looks bewildered.
No, I think I know who that is.
I'm just saying I'm confident I know who that
We
is.
start with Cole.
Is that Tachi?
No!
Who is
What
it?
do you mean?
Tell
It's
me. Oh, it's Astral. It's Astral. I see it now.
No, you're
It's
not.
just come-
You saw
It's
the
Astral.
chat. You saw the chat. Okay.
No, I'm not. I will take a picture of my layout right now. I have no chat. I promise.
think this is
Wow.
genuinely pretty
Astral.
good.
Very good.
I
He
think
looks,
that's decent.
he looks good as well. It doesn't just look like Astral. He's looking good.
you know,
He looks like
fantastic.
a
I find-
Giga Chad.
Yeah.
Do you know what I find really,
Astral.
really impressive about this?
Chad's
Is
John.
that everyone else did it on a whiteboard where they could, get rid of any mistakes.
Yeah.
You did this on paper.
That's on
and
paper. Look, you can see the
stuck
back
with
of it there.
Yeah, but he felled an entire tree to do it.
Shadow
The other
Realm
wasted
Astral.
paper behind him.
I'm absolutely certain you traced this off like a Wikipedia page or
No,
something. Like,
I promise you I
he's got
didn't.
Twitter open or
Pretty good.
something else.
Pretty
Okay,
good.
Cole, you're going last on this. I'm sorry, your lack of confidence has set you up for this.
I feel
Johnny.
bad about. I mean, I'm confident, but I feel bad about my drawing skills now that I've seen Stumpy's masterpiece.
No, come on.
Here we go.
Come on, Johnny. What have you
Wait,
got?
let's see it.
What? That's the one that you said. I'm confident.
I am. I'm confident.
Okay,
Right, Johnny,
I think I know who it is.
Before we get here, Johnny turned around to us
Abstract.
and said that he had shown this to people, and they went, "You know what? That's pretty good."
No. I showed it. I showed it to my girlfriend, who doesn't really know any Rocket League, players, but
Oh,
she,
my
she
God.
figured out information about this that would be necessary.
And
to
to confirm, this is players that are still in the competition today, right?
Yeah, I'm
Shogun.
trying not to mention that bit to everybody else because it makes you sound smarter when you got it right. But yes, that was the unwritten rule on this one.
Then they're clearly Dutch. There's a windmill and there's a bicycle.
They like their
and
phone.
therefore,
They like their
I've
phone.
only got the one that I can really go for here. It's Oli, right?
No. I don't know if you're
What?
joking or not. Are you joking?
No.
Who's the other
Oli's
Dutch person? Who's he
Cole,
playing
no,
with?
Cole, don't give him to this. Cole.
All right. Sorry.
Wait, is it Joria's? Because he's got his phone now. Oh no!
There it is.
I thought. Yeah,
Look at his hair.
I'm
Look
so
at
ashamed
the
of this pre-show.
Joria's hair. Look, it's clearly him on his mobile phone. They had to,
Yeah, I can see the hair. I can see
As
the
if
hair.
there are 2 Dutch people in our top 4. This is
they had to
absurd.
start confiscating phones from players because he wouldn't stop going on his phone at the Fall Major after every single goal. He'd just whip it out and jump on Snapchat. Now they all
Love
get
how
their
abstract.
phones confiscated.
That's good.
That was great. Okay. Go on,
This has
Cole.
been a nightmare already, and you're
I'm
the
excited
one
for
that was
this.
least confident. Are you
Well,
more confident now that you've seen these?
Yeah, there's a rubbish. So you were talking about Stumpy's looking like he traced it from Wikipedia. Well, I actually did trace mine. So this is exactly what it looks like.
Cole, that's so bad it killed my camera.
I mean, the green screen might not be doing it, and he just did.
What is done?
That's the Rocket League player.
Flo, I sent you this earlier on. Even I had to check our DMs to make sure I
that?
sent you somebody. Who is that?
That's,
Wait, is it?
That's
Oh, I'm
not
back.
that person.
I think wait. Is it?
Go on.
I'm going purely from the ginger hair.
Yeah, go on.
Is
Oh,
it Cash?
Yes, it is Cash.
Oh,
Obviously, it's Cash. It's
I
Wait,
thought-
why has he got a car
my
on his
favourite
shoulder?
player. It's a Dominus, because he's better in the Dominus.
That's not a Dominus. Don't say
mate.
that's a Dominus.
It's
as
a
if
flat old Dominus hitting the ball.
It's a taxi. What are you on about?
Why is his
like a
mouth
round-
like-
It's not a taxi, Johnny.
Why is his
It's,
mouth a tick?
Nice.
It's Cash.
Yeah, why is
you look
why
at
is
his,
his mouth
if you look at his Wikipedia page, he's doing a sort of like DreamWorks when they do the sort of like cool looking.
Word.
He's got that going on. So
It also looks
Cole.
like he's sellotaped
my
a sweet
man.
potato to his face, like
Cole.
with that nose that you've drawn.
Cole,
in.
I've
This
looked
is-
up his Wikipedia. His mouth does not look like a tick on Wikipedia. It looks like a mouth.
I know.
What are you on about? It doesn't look anything like a tick. Also, like his hair is not up in the air. Look, everybody, go do it yourself. His hair's not up in the air. His mouth doesn't look like a tick. This is nothing like his picture. I thought it was Joyo, but I was like, Joyo's it's the wrong hair color to be Joyo. I was like, maybe
I've never
Oh,
felt
this is
more
the last
confident
time
about
you suggest
this.
The pre-show
know.
segment.
no, mate, I'll come up with something better. All right, I'll
Okay,
redeem
so
myself.
I feel like this is a redundant question here, but chat, I'm going to bring it over to you to decide a winner on this one.
Come on.
Everyone show us your drawings. Who won?
Yeah.
Who had the best drawing?
No, you got to like. Do we
You-
need a
you can
poll?
say
gotta
Cash
be-
or Cole.
Yeah,
Say Cash
poll.
or Cole. That's
It's got to
fine.
be Giga Chazdrall, surely.
All right, let's have a look. I'm keeping an eye.
Camera,
I'm
don't fail me now.
It's
I
mostly
mean-
people just complaining about
hard to
the
get mine in
state
the
of it.
frame.
I feel like if your camera disappears, then you should sort of be banned.
I gotta say, from what I'm seeing, Stumpy is the overwhelming winner.
Listen, just
on
like,
this.
you guys can't appreciate abstract art. Doesn't
Exactly,
mean that-
Johnny.
That Stumpy's the
Exactly.
winner.
Appreciate abstract art, people.
Sure that is harsh. It looks like it's been stung by a bee.
Wow. Let's move on. Let's reset. I feel like we've had to reset like 3 times so far in this broadcast.
This is my ode to
and
Cash. I adore the man, and this is how I show my love and gratitude.
sign it and send it to him. We're
I
going to go
will,
over
yeah.
to yay or nay. It's an old school topic that we've had over here. What we are going to do is I'm going to present everybody with a take that I've seen out and about. These are not necessarily mine. These are things that I've seen from the community. That's right. You're to blame, not me. Let's get our first one up, and then you and chat can either say hashtag yay or hashtag nay. And our first one is going to be more Astral related. Is this Astral's best chance at winning an international major LAN? He's been very close previously. He's had some very strong rosters. You look at the old KC, you look at Dignitas. Is this his best shot that he's had? Have we got any sort of ideas? I'm not going to ask you guys to say yay or no. I'm going to say, does anyone want to say no to this one? Or is this the best chance he's had?
I
Saying
think
no,
it
I don't
is.
want to say no. Yeah,
Is
I
this
think it
to
is.
win a major? Sorry,
This
I've
is
been
to
trying
win a
figure-
major. Is this his
win,
best chance
yeah.
he's ever had going in?
Ooh,
Hey.
Stumpy's here. Hey!
Hey!
are we giving our answers?
I would love to hear your answer on this. I'm hearing a lot of yays overall from our squad.
Okay. Well, don't make me do a thumbs up. I'm just going to say this is disastrous. I peaked with my picture of Astral. I think that yes. I think yes. This is his best chance to win a major. He has got potentially 2 of his best teammates.
Can't take it seriously.
On the rear of an octane.
So hard. It's them giggling that's putting me off more than anything else.
Nothing Stumpy says.
Chat
I can't take it
staring straight at
seriously
you.
today.
Just yes, it is probably. I don't care. Whatever.
Let's have a look at what chat thinks, shall we?
Oh my
Will
goodness.
Astral? Oh wow! So
Yes.
just to put that into perspective, Astral was third.
Fourth.
Back in fourth. No,
Yeah,
it was
fourth,
their match.
fourth in London, right?
Yeah, but third in season 8. Sorry, when the
I see. So
Game
including
7.
then. Yeah.
any
sorry.
major championship. So
Okay. Yeah.
I will say, like, definitely he's got more opportunities too. Back then it was, you had the World Championship, and that was about it. This time you've got about 4 chances, as long as you don't really make any roster moves, which so far I haven't really seen any reason to do so. So we will see throughout the tournament, but looking good right now for Astral. Okay, I'm done with the Europe versus NA sort of stuff. I want some interfighting between Europe, and we're going to start getting it, because I have seen the UK players say an awful lot that the UK should be rated, if not the same, a bit higher than France. Let's find out. UK over France. The UK has got, I think,
Is that right
5?
now?
Right
that-
now.
They got 6 actually players in the top
6.
12 today. Top 12 players. 12
Well, we got
players remaining. They got
France,
half of them.
3?
Yeah, France is 3, or is it just 2 actually? Because it's actually often, he's very part of the French community, but he is Moroccan. So you got Vatira, Exotic, and then Astral is part of the French community as well, but he's from Belgium. So only 2 French players, I think, remaining in the tournament. Yeah.
All right, so let's have a look. I'll ask Colin Johnny. Thumbs up, thumbs down, yay or nay?
Is that right now? UK better?
Right
UK
now.
Rocket League right now?
at this very
nah.
moment in time.
Nah, no.
Exactly.
No,
I will also
definitely
say nay. I will also join the nay train.
I
would
feel the
think
nay
about it. I would think
radiating.
about it if you're saying at the end of the season, but now, nah, you can't.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
too early.
It takes
One event.
longer.
Nah.
Plus, there are players from France that you bring them in and they make any player,
back
any
again.
team in the world instantly better, just full stop. And I'm not sure England's quite got that individually.
UK, not
Yeah,
just
but-
England.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's have a look at
Let's
what
grab colour.
chat currently believes, or let's find out more what our demographic is in this chat. And nay, even on the English-speaking
Should it be not?
broadcast,
No.
it's nay.
Oh, there's far too many
France.
yay votes there, though. That's
France
ridiculous.
wins this over the UK, so therefore they are just better yet again in Rocket League and in polls.
Well
All
done.
right, well, we'll find out. We'll find out at the end of the tournament. Maybe UK can. They're in a good position to try and grab a tournament win today, so we'll see how that is. And also, I'll make a note to ask us this again later on this season. Now, for 2 countries, they've sort of had lingering success. One further back, one much more recently, but it's both been kind of on the downturn over the past few seasons. So I want to get your opinions on this. Spain or the Netherlands? Which one do you feel is in a stronger position right now? I had to put one of them as the stronger of the 2. So Spain greater than the Netherlands, yay or nay? I'm going to give you a countdown. Let's see thumbs up, thumbs down. 3, 2, 1. Let's have a look.
Wait. So which one's Netherlands?
If it's
NL,
Spain's
nay.
greater, thumbs up.
Is Spain better?
Yes.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I hate this. Either one, I don't like my
yeah.
answer. Can I just do? No, I'll.
I can explain my answer if you want my perspective on it. So in terms of who has the best chance of winning this event, obviously the Netherlands, because there are 2 Dutch players remaining in this tournament, Joyce and Oli. All of the Spanish players, as far as I can remember, are eliminated. However, there are just so many predominantly Spanish teams who are doing, I think, pretty well. Guild made it into this event. They're 2/3 Spanish. G1, a full Spanish team, made top 8. You've also got Aogiri nearly made top 8, and they're 2/3 Spanish team. I think, there's just more Spanish players and teams near the top. But Netherlands is not far behind. You've also got Oxygen looking really good, and they're 2/3 Dutch, of course.
We need us power ranking these at some point over the next few weeks just to see where these end up going. Yes, Stumpy?
I was going to say, I think there's a stronger bed of Spanish players, where you've got a lot of them hanging out around, like your G1s, etc., who are really in that top 7, Johnny, you were talking about. And then there's more kind of lower down as well. But I think then when you consider the fact that Oli and Jorias are just unbelievable, and they are near the top, obviously right now in this, and I see them continuing that time and time again. I think that kind of reaches them just above. But it's not like I'm thinking the Netherlands are smashing Spain out of the water by any means. I just think they have a higher peak at the moment.
A higher peak and also more players as well. Just at a quick scan, you've also got Tho and Mightboy and Matane in there as well. So there's a lot of Dutch flags starting to appear in these top 16 regionals.
I will say,
close,
as Battle Cars players, Cole, it almost pains me now how little we see of the Germans. Like, coming in, when Rocket League first got started, you had a huge German stronghold on the top of Europe, and that's just gone away. We haven't seen that now for multiple years.
We've got Raziers coming in, who did so well at Gamers Day, and is, my pick for
his rookie season.
Rookie of the year, exactly. He played in one spring regional. Sorry, guys. This is his, his honorary rookie season. But no, Tox coming in for Evil Genius as well. He's looking like their best player at the moment. So there's representation.
Okay, well, let's have a look at our predictions for today. Yesterday, some of us went very, very poorly. That was me. I got 1 out of 4 correct. Some of us did somewhat well. That was Johnny. Nobody cares, Johnny. Let's have a look at our predictions for this one. I'm assuming we're going to go in the same order, which means we're going to see the redemption bracket. I feel good about this. I've got Karmine Corp over
interesting.
Moist, and I've got Oxygen winning against Quadrant and losing to Karmine Corp in the grand finals. This is the bracket that gets me back in.
Yeah, I don't think there's a bad bracket. I think I think we're going to be more. Yesterday we were unanimous on 2
because we're going to have a look at Johnny's.
Let's
have a look at Johnny's.
This is the correct bracket. It's just how it's going to go.
That's it.
Moist Oxygen.
No, that's good to me. That looks good to me personally. That is really good to me, actually.
You
really does
the same, did you?
Yeah, you know what, actually, Johnny? I reckon that's 400 IQ.
I think Johnny is being really silly. No, I've changed my mind. Johnny's a genius. Well done, Johnny. Good job, pal.
That looks great to me personally.
Thank you.
Really good to me.
Have you gone the same as well? We submit these anonymously, so we're not sure.
I will. I think that's a great bracket, guys. I think you've all done a brilliant job personally. Shogun, idiot.
Actually, there's a chance for Shogun to completely redeem himself here.
This is actually what I needed today.
If Karmine Corp just simply beat Moist, then that Shogun caught up 1 extra point on all of us. We're all banking on Oxygen making the final and losing, right? Shogun, you said you're going to lose.
Yeah.
So we get the same points for Oxygen Quadrant no matter what. But Moist Karmine Corp, if Karmine Corp make the final and win, Shogun I think is going to tie me for first, and then
he'll get 2 points, right?
Yeah.
I'll be loving it. But we'll see how that one goes later on. For now, it's time to look at today's schedule. We have got ourselves 2 semifinals and a grand final coming your way. Oxygen versus Quadrant and Moist versus K-Corp. Vatira against his old team. It is going to be a phenomenal day of Rocket League, but that is to look forward to. For now, it is all about Oxygen and Quadrant, a Quadrant that upset everybody yesterday by proving their predictions wrong and getting through past Team BDS. We're going to have a look at their rosters. It's Archie, Oli, and Jorius against Cash, Relating Wave, Ixo, Billy, and Snasky will be taking up the coaching roles, and we will get a chance to have a look at their stats throughout this competition. Johnny, you said earlier on, top 7. Are Quadrant in that top 7 now?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, they beat BDS in the quarterfinals, and it was a banger of a series. So definitely, I think they've made that step up to join the teams at the top. They're in the conversation. Any team here is in the conversation to win this. I mean, Quadrant have taken down BDS. That's all you need to know. But Oxygen have just been on a slightly different level, I think. I have to go. I put them in my prediction. I think we all put Oxygen to win this.
Yeah, we've all got Oxygen here. Yeah. We're all about to get shushed in about 40 minutes now.
I can't wait.
My estimation of Quadrant went up after yesterday, but I've still got Oxygen higher than my new estimation of Quadrant.
Yeah, I think Quadrant yesterday, they did an incredible job to beat BDS. Obviously, anybody would. But to me, it seemed like a bit of a peak, and they beat them by 1 goal in the Game 7, which is amazing to do. But I still think that could have very much easily gone either way. Oxygen, however, they've gone unbeaten through this Fall Open in its entirety. They went 3-0 in the Swiss. They've just beaten G1 as well, who are another brilliant team who took BDS to 5 earlier on back in that Swiss. So I see them as generally stronger, with Quadrant having a pop-off yesterday, but I would happily welcome Quadrant winning this today and just shutting us all up again.
Yeah, what I'd say in Quadrant's defense is one, that they upset BDS yesterday, so there's no reason they can't upset Oxygen today. But two, Oxygen are going to be facing a very different matchup against Quadrant than they had against Gamers First, where it was just a constant race for the ball. Both teams wanted to get as much control as possible, take as many shots. There were huge goal-scoring games. Whereas Quadrant, they're going to want to keep the goal scoring low. Oxygen are going to have to break them through, and that could frustrate Oxygen if they're used to a slightly more free-flowing way of playing in these playoffs. So it might be that Quadrant can just frustrate Oxygen and grab a couple of games themselves.
Right, well, let's find out what you at home think. There's an awful lot of us pushing over towards Oxygen taking this, but have we convinced you, or have you decided, wow, they have no idea what they're talking about whatsoever? We're definitely going to go for Quadrant. Have they made you believers? I mean, they did take down the consensus #1 team in Europe that had no roster moves, no question marks over can this team perform together. We all knew this was a team that can do very well. We'll find out whether or not Quadrant have got your vote soon enough. Stumpy, when we saw this match yesterday, what was it then? What did we see about Quadrant? Why were they able to break down and beat BDS? Because this isn't a team that you just go in and, oh, wow, we just beat you. It was easy. It's always something that starts to make that little difference.
I think they were just incessant. Every touch of the ball kind of had a purpose to it as well. They were following every touch that they made. There was nothing really that was just floating into the midfield and allowing BDS to have that pressure, because that's when they score. When BDS do that conveyor belt that they love to do and rotate perfectly through the mid boost, that's then when they can just keep shooting shots at your net, and they will take some of the highest amount of shots through the entire region. Quadrant, they were sending balls, but then it was always to a teammate. It always had purpose to it, and they were always chasing down BDS whenever they attempted to do something incredible. Seiko could barely breathe in that series. Monkey Moon, he wished he could do anything. So having those pushbacks and making sure that BDS was shut down as much as they could, that's how Quadrant did it, and I think that could be effective against also a very stylish Oxygen.
It was shutting down, and it was also choosing when to go for demos as well. I think there was a stat that Joby mentioned in the series yesterday that Cash was 47th out of 48, I think, for demos in the Swiss. And then yesterday against BDS, he was targeting them. You know, he was a man possessed. He was getting 4 or 5 per game. So they definitely shifted their game plan against BDS, which is what happens when you're on top. Players tend to watch your matches back and figure out new ways to come up against you. So it's great management as well from Snasky that helped them get that.
Johnny, I want you to take all of the hype out of the room real quick, because we've just tried to push why Quadrant can do this. Why can't they? Why is Oxygen too much?
I mean, more recently, they've just been by far the more consistent team. We saw Quadrant, perform up to the high expectations a lot of people had for that team and those players at the start of the season. But I keep highlighting this. They struggled to qualify for this event. They came through Swiss in the last round in the regional itself. So I'm seeing inconsistency from them, more inconsistency than I'm seeing from Oxygen, who they swept the qualifier. They topped this Swiss, or rather they 3-1 this Swiss. They've just been more consistent, and I think that will be the difference today. We're going to see good peaks from Quadrant, but Oxygen are going to do that more often.
Okay, I want all of us just to very quickly put our thumbs like that, like we usually do for the yay or nays, because we're going to take a look at the fan vote, and we're going to give our reaction to what we think to the fan vote. All right, let's see it. Do we agree with you, chat?
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go. I think that's about dead on.
Like there?
I think it should be maybe higher.
I thought that was going to be much higher.
I think 70-30 would be like those are the odds I would put on this. I think this is good odds for Quadrant. If I see these odds, I'm gonna go Quadrant because the
I honestly think about
42% seems pretty good.
is dead on. That's pretty much where I'd put it. Chat was 2% off each way. From
well, I have a question. What would you expect this to be like before the tournament started? Like 80-20? Like,
I think that's where you'd have 70-30, because they're all good players, good individuals in their own right, the Quadrant players. There's something about also being signed by an org that maybe it's just in my mind that makes a team more scary. I know it shouldn't, but there's just something about the whole sort of mantra of it all. So I think that would have helped them come up as well.
All right, well, we know what we think. We know what you think. Now it's time to find out what the players think. They think they deserve a spot in that grand finals. It is up to themselves to make themselves right. We've got Quadrant and Oxygen looking for a spot to take home the victory. Grand finals coming soon, but before, you gotta win.
Turtle, it's time to get the championship Sunday games underway, and I am so ready for it. Oxygen taking the pitch against both new teams. Quadrant making a splash, getting top 4, but can they make top 2?
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, we got to witness both of these teams and their run to make it to the semifinals. Oxygen and Quadrant working so hard. And specifically, what I'm looking for in this series, there's going to be two players. You got somebody like Jorius on Oxygen, who's going to be playing that optimistic play style that we talked a lot about yesterday, always anticipating wins from his teammates. And then on the other side, the man I'm looking for, it's going to be Cash. Cash was making waves, putting in so much work, getting demos left and right, 14 demos in total. That man's going to be the impact player. Ixo, of course, had a lot of praise, a lot of respect put on his name because of his performance, but Cash, that man can really step up whenever his name is called.
This almost feels like such a similar matchup for Oxygen as it was yesterday. You remember their series against G1, and
yeah,
I mean, how much defense G1 had to play, and we know how defensively minded Quadrant can be. But talking to Relating Wave in that post-game interview, they know when they have to switch it up. I don't think they want to subscribe to any particular play style. They want to work with whatever's going to win them the match in front of them. And Oxygen might be a different task than the previous one for Quadrant. Excuse me.
Yeah, I think that's the question here for Quadrant is how they switch it up. I think we know what kind of Oxygen playstyle we're going to get. And it's probably going to be the most effective against a Quadrant that's more passive and wants to play defensively. And it's going to be up to Quadrant to push forward with players like Relating Wave, who even got a couple of flashy double taps yesterday. So he was, of course, putting in big strides on the offensive side to make some damage. And we need to see that same performance, if not more now, against Oxygen, who I would argue is much more top-heavy on the offensive side than BDS. This isn't going to be as much of a dogfight in the midfield as it will be staying on defense. What is this from Jory?
It's Jorius on the left side. Every time we saw Jorius on the left, he was doing something nutty. A nice little pre-flip into the ball, hits a nasty double, forced the own goal. That's the Jorius effect on this team, Turtle. He was doing that yesterday, too.
It might be fair to say Jorius is like the best at pre-flipping. You remember that flip reset off the pre-flip yesterday?
Yeah.
Then this man comes out, the first goal he gets is from another pre-flip. Jorius, so mechanical. And I mean, you feel for the defense because not much in your control. You're trying to just get in the way of it. It's an unfortunate situation for them, and Oxygen continue their attack.
Jorius avoids the demo. Decent control, but Oli was playing it close, was thinking Jorius was going to go close side to it. They do maintain possession. Good win from Relating Wave. Early on in their series against BDS, Relating Wave was a bit inconsistent in finding those 50s. Ended up putting his team in some tough spots on defense, but as the series went on, he got better and better, especially in the midfield. Definitely look at him to win those midfield balls.
Cash, look at Cash
trying to get the demo. Jorius avoids it. Right, Relating Wave trying to keep it close, but the play stuffed here by Oxygen. In front, Oli gets it.
And that's what's so efficient for Quadrant is knowing when Cash is going to go for the aggressive approach. And you saw him hunting down that third man. They're going to have to rely on that, the pillar of the offense. Of course, the physical game going to get involved. And I agree. I think Relating Wave definitely aged like fine wine in that series. Yesterday, hold on a second, though. Oli going for a mid-air bump. Sets up Archie with a follow-up shot. Oxygen, they're definitely warmed up in game one and have most of the possession, most of the mechanics, and then definitely a shot. Oli, bottom right corner. Accuracy coming up clutch.
Ixo was working on small pads on his rotation. He only picked up one, and then he comes out of the net thinking maybe he's going to play it to the wall, but the play had developed. Ixo just kept driving up out of the net into the wall. A tough position for him to be in, because when you're on low boost, you don't want to be completely out of the play.
Yeah.
You won't have many places you can go. You want to be as close to the ball as possible. But Ixo got left out to dry. Two challenges go the way of Oxygen.
And it was kind of like an illusion when Oli jumped up for that shot. I mean, it's understandable why Ixo expected a touch into the corner. And Oli did a good job of not showing his hand right away, putting it in the bottom right corner. Very, very consistent offense from Oxygen. I love their approach so far in game one. It's not too over-aggressive. We saw what happened yesterday. Sometimes they'd get ahead of themselves and one player would push up too far forward. Oli, the next one is, of course, going to go in favor of him as well. 2 goals, 3-0 for Oxygen.
And Relating Wave, he's just hesitated. He saw the ball lob up. You see him turn for a second, thinking he should go, but then Oli is immediately up in the air, and by that time, Relating Wave is beat. This car turned the wrong way, can't get back to the ball in time.
Wow, what a start for Oxygen. Very collected, Jorby. I mean, they've been composed all game one. We've rarely seen any mistakes. I haven't seen any double commits. Communication's got to be on point for this team. Always getting in rotation. Even whenever somebody like Cash is trying to take you out and hunt you down, they're not breaking that formation.
Yeah, we watched Joria's avoid a couple of demos, namely one from Cash on one of Quadrant's more convincing pushes. Still scoreless. Ixo drops it down over to Cash. Relating Wave beat by Archie. Speedy to the ball. Relating Wave did get contact. Cash.
Ixo's there.
See if they can get it set up. The dump and chase not work. Relating Wave on the wing, but Cash is going to play it himself with solo effort on the ground. Oh, and it made it work. Everyone's thinking ground pinch, and Cash is thinking bouncy ball.
And Ixo and Cash, they swap positions. Ixo bumped another man on the defensive side and knocked him out of the goal line, which set up that shot for Cash. And he also went in with a bit of a fake. Like you said, you thought he's going to go for a ground pinch. Instead, it's a nice little bounce shot. With 18 seconds left, I'm not sure how possible it is, especially with this poor kickoff. Glorious can secure the game one victory. Quadrant, it looked like there were a couple of signs of life shoulders of game one, too much in favor of Oxygen.
Win on the kickoff, Cash not going to get there. And like you said, an excellent start for Oxygen. Oli sitting at the top of the scoreboard. 5 saves total for the team as well, with a little bit of pressure that Quadrant were able to put out. But I think Jory is definitely the star of game number one.
Right.
Not just creating the first opportunity with his double tap forced own goal, but also just around the pitch and great awareness.
Wow. Good
execution, give Oxygen the game one victory here against Quadrant.
This is just such a good look for Oxygen, too, because like I completely agree. I think Jorius was for sure the star of game one. But for me, we got a couple of glimpses of the pillar for this offense, which in my eyes is Oli. I mean, while Jorius is flashy, going for those mechanics, I think Oli being consistent on the back line and also coming forward as maybe the third man, sometimes the second man with those shots, consistently putting them away. We saw the accuracy, 2 goals to his name. Jorius comes in with the flashy mechanics. And then, of course, you've got Archie, the glue, who is filling in when he needs to. And what I like about this Oxygen team, too, Jorby, is they're very understanding of how strong and how aggressive they can be. You know what I mean? Like, they're pulling it back. They're almost like a monster who had to tame themselves first. They had all this offensive power, and now they're learning when to utilize it and when to pull back.
Yeah, the more they play together, the more they get a feel for each other. And I absolutely agree with you on Oli. It doesn't really seem to matter how much boost he has or where he is in the rotation. He always comes up with the touch, at least. That consistency certainly helping Oxygen. But for Quadrant, back into a similar spot as yesterday. Now they need to figure out a different game plan here, a different looking team than BDS was yesterday. BDS, they tend to slow the game down against you and make you really think about how you're pushing. But against Oxygen, it's a lot faster. 2 touches, no boost, and Ixo opens the scoring for Quadrant.
And that's how you get things done for Quadrant. It's Ixo by himself. This is why the man himself, Cash, was talking about, why is everybody sleeping on Ixo? Just keep sleeping on him. Fine. He's going to keep upsetting you and showing what he's capable of. The 1v1 play from the sidewall. And Quadrant might need more of that firepower. And in game 2, it's certainly coming out.
You know, Ixo, when he was on Luminosity, they had some makings, and you still saw flashes of that Ixo, but it wasn't coming around consistently. Sometimes that has to do a lot with the environment you're in. But for Ixo, this is just a new look and better synergy, at least early on, obviously. The first regional is all we have to look at, but Ixo's looked good in that so far. Archie, nice catch on the backboard. Start defense and get the clear for Oxygen back to the corner.
I do think it's also important to note that Quadrant were able to make a change and come out strong in game 2 without a timeout. Yesterday, I think it was put on display just how effective those timeouts can be. That extra 60 seconds gives your team a lot more time to breathe, collect yourselves. They didn't need a timeout, and in game 2, they come out swinging. So Quadrant able to adapt quickly, change things up, and it's going to be Ixo taking a lot of the responsibility because of that. Nice. But Oli has other words to say around one player looking for a dribble around the second. Good showing from the defense of Quadrant, not only on offense, too.
Oh, it's a good 50 from Wave. Archie's in a tough spot. He can't make the read, but nobody was there for the follow-up. They saw Archie there. Jory is going to get the ball back.
Here we go.
Got one to bite up and denied by Cash. Good idea from Jorius. Relating Wave clears it out for Quadrant. Over to the corner. Jorius gets a nice read. The demo from Oli gets to the 50. That was a great retreat from Oxygen, and they pushed it right back to
Oli
just getting in the way. That one's saved by Relating Wave, but it's still the box shot. Goal! Jorius ties the game.
Consistency from Oxygen. They have held this pressure for so long, and it's not just one shot, it's not just two shots, it's several in a row, maybe even 4 here for Oxygen, hammering the net. Quadrant can't get boosts, they can't find the rotations, and finally Joris will break down the defense. That was relentless stuff from Oxygen.
Oli in the air for this one. Got the catch. The reset. Those back wheels touched. Archie to the cross and Relating Wave. Nice job on the back wall. Protecting it and giving Quadrant, a chance here.
Yeah.
Look at Oli. Stuffed it into the corner. Made the touch difficult for Cash.
There
Now
he
he
is
gets the pass.
again. Back to Jory.
Oh, saved by Ixo. He used all that he had, which wasn't a lot, Turtle. Nothing in the tank for that save. Ixo now downfield. Redirect on target. Denied by Oli.
Ixo, how do you get that read? You're seeing the ball go left and right in front of your screen. Back passes in the midfield, and you have the composure, the patience to stay on the goal line and know exactly when the shot's coming in. And now this man can rotate on the offensive side. There is so much of an impact that this player can have, keeping Quadrant tied up. And now here he comes again with the dribble. Can he make some more damage on offense? Looking for a flip reset himself. He can get the corner boost, doesn't go for it. Opts to go for the pass, and also getting involved with some demos. Ixo, my man, this dude does not stop Jorby.
Jory is looking for another double. Blocked by Quadrant. Midfield still contested. Quadrant moved to the corner. 250s might put them in a solid spot, but Oli moving it supersonic. Forces Quadrant to figure things out from their own corner again. As Oxygen gets set up in midfield. Might be a dangerous spot here for Quadrant. They need to make sure they're staying in those thirds. And Relating Wave, a great catch. Got Archie to bite. Now he's got a cross for the shot, but Oli stays with it. Got the save. Relating Wave conducting that offensive push, trying to push defenders out of the way, but couldn't quite find the hole for his teammate.
Yeah, here comes Oxygen. Jorius, a good 50-50, but Cash has it red. He tries to set up another challenge. Relating Wave searching for an answer, an opportunity off the backboard. Got a back and forth game. The past minute or two, no team in particular has had possession. That was a good shot, a good opportunity for Archie. Bounces off the backboard and out in favor of Quadrant. Things have stalled now in the midfield, Jorby. Slowed down in this game while the ball is maintaining a very high speed. It seems like the possession not as consistent from either team.
Well, Quadrant are just launching it right into Oxygen cars. They got to start finding each other. One pinch actually gets them a clear here, so they will get out of it, and they get the perfect bounce! Saved by Jory is on the rotation. Jory is down, cut by Relating Wave.
Good bounce.
Cash is on the far side, and would have received the pass, but Archie's there.
Okay.
Stays with it on the 50. Far side, Relating Wave. Anticipates Jorius. Back over to Ixo. Quadrant still in midfield. Can't get possession. Ixo gets another look, but use a bit of boost to get to that ball. Archie steals it. Relating Wave on the 50, but Jorius is in the air. Pass in front to Oli. Denied.
Oh, they're going to keep it up.
They're going to play.
They're going to keep it up.
Jorius. He's there. He lets it bounce to the ramp. Jorius going for the bump. Saved. Jorius, the smart leave attempt on the corner. We're in overtime.
I don't know how he knew that bounce was going to go perfectly into the midfield, but wait, this is a good setup for Ixo. Goes for the musty, almost hit it. Had some power, not enough. Of course, you need more to break down and break through the Oxygen defense. At first, they were just trying to sustain some pressure and hold on to their own defense. But a good early start from the kickoff might change momentum here in overtime.
Good pass to Archie on the side wall from Jorius. Quadrant's defense.
Yeah.
They've been in solid position every single time.
Absolutely.
Oxygen have given him some hard passes, Turtle.
It feels a little bit different, too, than the defense we saw against BDS. Quadrant were so passive at several moments against BDS with that third man. But look at Cash right here. He's all the way in the midfield, straight in their faces, and it's going to create some more opportunities. Maybe this is a change they wanted to apply and a new strategy instead of staying so deep on that third man, Jordan.
Oh, Ixo, honestly, fortunate that the Oxygen attacker hit it right into him because he had missed every small pad on his rotation back. Hang on, Cash!
Oh, what a
hard
flick.
Oh
My.
Only a Dominus gets that kind of quick power on that.
We gotta calm down.
He's got wave. He's got wave on the wing. Quadrant a couple of close chances there. No real shot pressure on that push. Cash doesn't have enough boost. Not gonna get the dunk.
Oh, Ixo. There's got to be a good 50. Oh my, look at the patience. He made Oli bite, but still Oli somehow gets 2 challenges. He got faked out, but managed to get a touch. I don't know, Jorby, does this Quadrant defense feel any different to you, or do you think this is the same as BDS? Another shot coming in for Oxygen.
Well, they've got a lot of pressure. I do feel like they've keeping up that aggression.
Yeah.
They haven't got as many demos, but you are seeing all of them swing across that goal line and try to get it. Oxygen have been excellent at avoiding those attempts. Now Cash, he's missed! Redirect! Miss-saved! Not necessarily a miss, just too light. Relating wave puts it across and Archie booms it away for Oxygen.
Wow.
Jory is stuffed. Who's gonna get to the ball? It'll be Ixo. Ixo, non-touch against Oli. Give it a chance against Cash. How about Archie on the backboard? Another touch out. Relating wave was ready for it this time.
I mean, game 1, we didn't get to talk too much about Archie, mainly because Oli and
Relating
Joyce were
wave?
doing so much work. There's the demos. Archie, you talked about him. You called his name, Jorby, on the back line, and he comes up big once again.
I mean, again, it's Relating Wave trying to go for the bump. And he connected, but then Archie recovered and got the save. The ball's halfway through the net.
I mean, if you're Oxygen and you're doing any type of replay reviews or you're looking at Quadrant's approach against BDS, you're going to know. You're going to expect some demos to come through. Archie is certainly prepared for this series.
2 players back for Quadrant. More pressure for Oxygen. Good stuff by Archie. Didn't get back to it, but that's plenty of time for Oli. Wanted the short touch. Jorius was playing a deep third, though, so easy clear for Quadrant. Oh, he just launched it.
Almost an awkward touch for Oxygen 2, stepping on each other's toes, but now they've spaced out properly. Jorius, not the best touch, and it's going to give a shot away to Ixo. Oli can get another follow-up, but instantly stuffed, and still more shots coming through. This is the most amount of pressure we've seen from Quadrant, and it's setting up more shots from Cash, who wants to go off the backboard, but Archie had him read with a free jump.
Yeah, Archie was like, Cash is going to bang that ball. I mean, that's what both teams are doing that. It's been just hit the ball as hard as possible, try to force a hard touch, and both teams have been responding. It's just immediate, rotate to the back wall. I know he's going to boom this. Whoever switches it up first might get the advantage. Oli denied by Ixo on the side. Cash trying to get in the way. Oli a demo on Relating Wave. Jorius, free shot! Goal! Oxygen take a 2-0 lead in the series.
Oh, and they stole this one out of the playbook from Quadrant, getting the demo on the goal line. Then Jorius from the corner finds his mark. Ixo, he was in position, but just couldn't get it in time. And Oxygen, they hold off, they fend off against all of that pressure on the defensive side, and one counterattack, one swift transition forward, and things change for them.
10 saves for Oxygen. Yeah, I don't think Quadrant are defensively minded in this series.
Yeah, no, not at all. Which is,
I mean, look at the save. I say that, and then there's 11 saves on Quadrant's side.
But it didn't feel like that, at least in the OT, right? That was all Quadrant in the overtime.
Absolutely. But Oxygen, what they were so good at doing was just getting hard clears, forcing Quadrant to have to rotate back, catch the ball. Okay, let's try another hard touch. And then when they had to make the reads, the Cash Archie contest is the one I'm thinking of, where Archie's just like, he's gonna bang that and jumps right before the touch happens. Like that kind of mental advantage that you have when you're making those reads and you're predicting the game of the other team. That's a tough place for Quadrant to be. They got to find a way to mix it up.
And you could see the relief there. I think we were seeing Jorius there in the final cam, where you could see the sigh of relief from his body language. And that's got to be an indicator of all the defense that they had to hold off on and play against Quadrant. They were dodging demos. And more specifically, we got to talk again about Archie. But before we do that, Cash's name has to get brought up, because this kickoff was all in favor of Quadrant.
And Jory is trying to figure out where Cash was going to go with that, but he just gave him the net. Jory is knowing Cash is going to get the first look there. He drives over to the side. He's thinking, Cash gonna either control that or play it to where I can get it in the corner. I don't think you can give up the edge like that when he's got control, and now he's just done it to him twice! Right through the midfield! 2 goals!
Go off, young man. Cash, the demo, created some space. Then you've got a 1v1. Oli thinks he has it red, but you don't anticipate, you don't expect all of those touches from the Dominus main himself, Cash.
I mean, I don't know, man. I think you see Cash, you expect it on the Dom.
Yeah.
But this
I mean,
time, Ixo connects on the demo.
Ooh.
And that's the big difference. That's a good save from Archie.
I mean, you've got that space that was created, but Oli, he still had some space and some time to work with to react. But all of those touches, that consecutive air dribble from Cash,
Cash still had to make that play.
That's another level, Jorby, of mechanics that I don't think we'll ever reach, unfortunately.
Archie. Thought he might have found Joria's on the go-ahead. Now his teammate gets demoed. Quadrant connecting. But they didn't have possession on that play. Null and void goes that power play. Ixo got underneath. Relating Wave gets the bump, but Jorius recovers. Free ball. Free shot. Denied right into Archie.
Cash was looking for that hat trick. Had that one opportunity. Didn't find the top corner. Relating Wave off the crossbar and out. Here comes Cash looking for a better setup off the dunk. Ixo is there. Maybe he has a flip reset. He does not. And Oli still scrambling to set up the defense. Archie, I don't know if he left it on purpose. He must have, because Jorius went for a flip himself, but the pressure is non-stop.
Oh my God, Jorius, he finally picked up a midfield boost. There was about 15 seconds there. All of Oxygen were sitting on 12 or lower. Wow. But they were trying to hang on to every scrap of boost that they had, and they kept that rotation tight. They got the clear. That was excellent work from Oxygen. Now here comes Jorius, but he can't make the read. Too fast on the drop.
Looks like the efficiency has to be on point for Oxygen Esports. They're not getting too many looks. They've got 1 shot compared to the 8 shots already from Quadrant. So lopsided. Quadrant have all the pressure. But remember what happened last game. Oxygen Esports in the OT stuck on their own half. They got 1 transition, a good demo, and that was it. Clean and consistent from Oxygen. Can't count them out just yet, but of course, this is the best start for Quadrant.
It's even more proof that every single matchup is different in Rocket League. Quadrant, as that BDS series heated up. Yeah, I mean, but the funny thing is Quadrant are starting to get back to what helped them against BDS with that physical game. But I do feel like they're much more aggressive against this team.
So much more. It's weird because you see somebody going for demos and turning a lot when they're rotating back, and you think that's what aggression is, but it might not be the case. Just because one player's going for demos doesn't mean everybody is getting aggressive. This seems like a 3-man decision, Joby, for everybody to push up. I'm seeing Quadrant infiltrate the midfield more, push that defensive line forward.
Well, I mean, think about
BDS, it wasn't the same.
I was gonna say, think about the team you're playing against. It's 3 mechanically minded players, and not that BDS aren't full of mechanics themselves, but their approach to the game is a little different. It's not as fast as Oxygen want to play. It's not as mechanical. So of course, Quadrant are like, let's just challenge them. What a hit here from Oli. He converts and splits the lead.
Yeah. But look at Jorius. The peace of mind to go for a dribble, flick it out to Oli, and then it was off target, crossbar down, and Oli uses the rest of his boost to secure that in.
I just want to know how... You don't start, Turtle. I just want to know how fast that initial touch was.
That was an exciting goal. I get it.
It was defended. And if he hits it any lighter, that's probably safe.
Oh, 100%. And you have to get that kind of power, and then also go for the follow-up because he knew it was off target. And that's the consistency. That's the pillar for Oxygen. Oli always answers the phone. It's like if Jorius and Archie can't come up with creative plays, Oli's like, hold up, I got you with just sheer power and accuracy.
Jorius dove on Ixo, and it delayed his approach out. It actually gave Oli a chance. He didn't have any boost on the play. Now Jorius gets another shot. One off the crossbar. Another shot denied. Ixo gets in the way. Cash, he's given some leeway by Oli, who's only got 12 in the tank. And he's got to leave it for Jorius. Oli hoping to get that corner boost. He does. Rotation on the opposite side of the field. Ixo on the catch, but he lost the ball. Oli gonna take advantage of it. Beats Wave, goes over to Archie. Redirect denied. Cash followed him the whole way through. Oxygen can keep the pressure. Jorius keeps it underneath. Ixo over.
Relating Wave's getting bumped.
Relating Wave got bumped and recovered. On downfield. Cash moving. No dunk. Taken away.
Relating Wave had to get out the fly swatter. Try and get all these pests away from him in the net. He still survived it and got the save. 35 seconds left, 1 goal lead for Quadrant. That might be the deciding moment. That save from Relating Wave. We'll see if Quadrant have what it takes to hold on, because they're facing an Oxygen Esports that is fired up.
Good bouncer. Oxygen have
he faked it.
possession.
He faked
Only,
it.
oh, it's blocked. All three commit from Quadrant. They don't get the challenge. Dorius pass. Goal! Oxygen sliced up the defense of Quadrant to tie it up.
That is just dirty from Dorius in the corner. He fakes it, leaves it for the midfielder to take the shot, and then the ball gets dished back into the midfield. Oxygen, this ball is just rotating around the net in the box of Quadrant. And you just gotta understand that eventually they will find their mark and create an opportunity. Things have been tied up. Quadrant, they had to get back in the series. Now they're looking at overtime and a potential Oxygen Esports who could force a match point.
Just like that, the final minute belonged to Oxygen, and now overtime begins. For Oxygen, maybe they don't want to face as much pressure.
Dorius is there.
Keep that momentum going. Dorius has been clinical,
Dude,
in this series. Doesn't matter where he's been toward Turtle.
You remember yesterday with how eager he was to transition forward? Like, he was making a couple of, I don't know if they're necessarily mistakes, just too risky positioning. And then this risky bounce for Oxygen. It's saved by Archie. Cash, can he do some damage? Can he do some work? Looking for maybe a flip reset, doesn't find it. We need something out of Quadrant. They had such a powerful and fiery start to this game, but it has fizzled out as Oxygen have just dumped water on him.
Oli completely thwarted that rotation with that bump. Now, Dorius gave a chance, but lost the touch right over to Cash. Walked right into him. Oli just takes a pot shot, challenging Ixo's ability. Ixo passes it. Archie on the catch underneath. Got the 50. Next up, Dorius lets it drop. Oli not gonna go yet. Not a shot for Oli, saved by Relating Wave. Everybody covering the options for Quadrant. But how many can there be? Archie across. Archie tried to drill it, but it's denied again, this time by Cash. Oli now across the corner. What's he got? Off the ceiling. Forced the 50 against 1. Dorius, Archie, pops it up high. Only 5 in the tank, but still makes it a little awkward for Quadrant, who just can't seem to get a clear. Has popped up in front again to Archie. Archie off the ceiling. Oli's waiting for the touch, but it's pushed down by Ixo. Dorius got the catch, got the recovery, got the dribble, flicks it up. Where's the pass? Over to Oli. It's denied. Somehow Relating Wave has found his way into the rotation. Somehow Quadrant have kept this Oxygen offense on ice, but how long can they stay cold? Ixo across the way, Turtle, trying to hang on.
No, I just feel for you. I mean, you're doing play-by-play, and I understand how you get them mixed up because they're constantly rotating, constantly changing. Who's taking the shot? You don't know who it's going to be. Archie, Dorius, Oli, all 3 of them can take a stab at the net.
Across the Relating Wave. Ixo trying to read Archie. Cash had to dive back for the catch, and that was beautiful. Pre-flip catch there from Cash. He doesn't have a lot of boosts. Tried to manage it. Dorius goes for the boost steal. Archie on the backside. Dorius still sitting around. Oli, the shot! The net's open! Archie got the demo! But it didn't matter. He wasn't able to find the ball. Now Dorius off the ceiling. One more! The reset! Off the backboard! Goal! Dorius! Mechanical Maniac! Game 3 for Oxygen!
He does it again. Flip reset off the ceiling. Archie, an undeniably strong challenge, forces it through the defense. Off the responsibility and the shoulders of Dorius. Match point for Oxygen. That is how you end a game, Jorby.
Archie almost dropped a foul, bro. Oh my God.
What was that? They went into overtime and they leveled up.
Turtle, he had 8 saves alone. 8, bro. That was crazy.
I can't believe this.
I don't even feel like, when were the last time Quadrant were on offense? I don't even remember.
For the entire part of the first half of the game, Jorby. They were just
that feels like yesterday, bro. That feels like yesterday.
It feels like a week ago. I don't understand because everything just shifted. There's this weird imbalance with Oxygen. It's like they'll just stay on defense and try and download your playstyle. Then they something flips in their heads and they understand exactly what Quadrant are trying to do, exactly where the positioning are. Okay, we could get these reads, we can intercept some passes, and we actually don't even have a timeout. Quadrant just want to keep running through this, which is ridiculous. And unreal stuff from Oxygen. We couldn't even keep track of who was taking the shots. There's always a player rotating in Jorby. This is some of the cleanest offensive rotations I think we've seen, and they're sustaining themselves on defense.
Match point for Oxygen. Well, some of these have been tight.
Oh my God.
One team dominates that overtime, and we keep moving.
I don't even know much else to say about this. Like, it has been a match where you assume Quadrant have found a rhythm, but it's just Oxygen laying down in traps.
They can't handle the pressure. Oli getting the demo to clear for Archie.
Yeah.
It's not even the Quadrant. They're not playing that bad of a game.
No,
This is
not
goofy.
at all.
That's just goofy. Oxygen scored goofy goal number 1. This one just kind of pops underneath and oopsies.
Oh my. Just smacking it into Oli off of his forehead.
Poor
down
Ito.
into the middle of the box. Yeah, and you feel for the Quadrant defense. There was a double commit too. And for the first time, what feels like the entire series, we don't have a fast and strong start from Quadrant. A little bit slower. Maybe that plays into their favor because Oxygen will come out with a little bit more confidence instead of just trying to stay on the defensive side. And my word, Jorby, we are on match point. And it just feels, like you said, like it was yesterday since we saw Quadrant have some possession, have some aggression.
There are some days when a team, their momentum just can't be stopped. Oli, he read that so long ago.
Yeah.
That's another shot. Relating Wave gets the save.
Man. Oh.
He's been decent on defense, but Jorius has been better on offense. He can't be stopped today. He just keeps putting it in the back.
It's all because of the power we saw there from Archie. A good pass out, of course, in the midfield from Jorius, but that power forced an awkward touch on the defensive side. You'd want to see it go into the corner ideally, but a save is just enough. A teammate could have rotated back in. A double commit off the kickoff from Quadrant. This is not a great start from them. And just, it looks like all the boys on Oxygen have just been hitting the gym, Jorby. Every single shot is like 400 kilometers per hour. It's unreal.
8 hours of free play away,
Yeah.
keep the losers away. And Relating Wave, you're gonna try to play this to the corner. Quadrant looking for a way back into the series. But almost 2 minutes gone, not a single shot yet as Quadrant try to get around. And, you know, the no timeout's funny because after you don't call it after game 2, my guess is Quadrant are probably thinking, well, there's no point to call it after game 3 if we didn't call it in game 2. So you might as well just leave it. Teams' records not very good after a timeout in a game.
You say that, but you want to do everything you can to kill the momentum. So, I mean, I don't know if I
guess it just depends what the vibe.
Timeout, yeah. I mean,
It just depends what vibes
It's all
are,
about
you know?
the mental state too for the team.
Yeah.
Of course, if they think that and know that they're still in this, of course, which they are. I mean, we've seen reverse sweeps in best of 7. So I guess that just shows how strong the mental is on Quadrant. But unfortunately, that hasn't been able to translate into their gameplay in this game. But maybe things pick up throughout the rest of the second half.
Well, they haven't even been able to hang on to the ball. So they're going to have to show us something different in the second half of game 4. Otherwise, semifinal 1 is going to look like an easy sweep on paper as Jorius protects it to Archie. Man, you've been talking a lot about Archie. Wait, this pass Relating Wave misses, and that was the chance for Quadrant to get back in the game. Relating Wave had to make a tight angle work. Oli, with no boost, could make the stop. Now he gets a pass over to Archie. Oli will never leave this rotation.
Yeah.
I've been so impressed with his pathing. Even when he's not picking up the pass, he refuses to leave the rotation. He's always putting himself in a decent spot, but he's never leaving the play unnecessarily for for canisters or anything like that. It's just made him so difficult to actually get around. He's always finding that touch, even right here. Well, they double in that one.
Though.
And he recovers. Okay, well, you doubled again. There you go.
They still recovered. And they still recovered, Jorby. And I did notice that as well. And I don't think it's just Oli. It seems like every single person on Oxygen wants to rotate in. Archie on the backboard. I wasn't even sweating. I saw this man rotating in, and I knew he was going to get the save. That's how consistent he has been throughout the series. Midfield boost has been in favor of Oxygen. That's a big reason as to why they keep rotating in. Cash looking for something creative. They needed a double commit is not going to be helpful against Quadrant, but that read is from Cash. Absolutely sniffed out that pass and was able to capitalize.
Good stuff from Cash. Steals that corner boost out and is just in the perfect spot on the turn. He turned ball cam on right as Jorius hit that ball, and he's like, oh, that's a pass to me.
And he was last back, Jorby. He could have easily just said, okay, I'm going to play the safe and go all the way back as that third man, but he had that play read.
Cash also in the Octane this game. So they didn't call a timeout. They didn't call a timeout. So, but Cash definitely feeling the mental apparently.
Oh, man. I don't know.
I was just watching Oxygen the whole time. I didn't even notice.
Yeah, I'm used to him being on dominance. This feels weird, but maybe that's what they needed, a little shift in mentality.
He's done a little bit of Octane work.
He's the dominance boy, but it's okay. Maybe he can prove himself. Here we go.
I mean, he hit one already. Maybe he can hit another one. Octane. Back to Wave. I called him Octane, so gonna pull it off. And Cash gonna move back in the rotation for Wave, but Oli, again, Leading Wave trying to prevent any kind of quick clear. Good 50 from Cash. Decent launch, but then Oli just gets such a powerful touch, flipping right into the point of contact against Cash. Now Jorius has Ixo on the run, and he gets his third goal, a hattie for Jorius.
17 seconds left. A hat trick for Jorius. A 2-goal lead for Oxygen Esports. All you have to do now is hold on, and you've secured a spot in the grand finals of the Fall Open. Oxygen, so close, 15 seconds, Jorby. Unless maybe Quadrant can bring out something in these dire moments.
Hard hit from Cash. Hard shot. Not over yet, Turtle. Ixo gets the goal here and maybe needs some magic on the kickoff. But Cash lost a good one. Tough read for Oli. Wow. Nice goal for Ixo.
And there's still time. Even if this kickoff is poor, with 5 seconds, that's just enough to maybe force a better 50-50. Pay attention to how this one goes. It's crucial for Quadrant.
Relating Wave goes for the cheat. Cash goes for the corner. Ixo gets the ball to the corner. Relating Wave misses the touch, but Cash is there. He's got the catch, avoids one. Oli next. He beats him. Cash going around it. He's got the catch. He needs some help. Got it. Ixo, it's challenge knocked away. A bump and Relating Wave's nowhere in the play, and the game's over. The match is over. Oxygen move to the grand finals.
Swept through him. Quadrant. It was such a strong performance. They took out BDS yesterday, but they're unable to take down Oxygen Esports, who continue their tear. And for me, it's not just the man in the top right, Jorius. It's all 4 of these boys. Just immaculate work. Every single department on the field was covered. You've got the defense. You've got Archie filling in. Oli absolutely pelting every single ball. The PSI has got to be lowered after this match with the power we were seeing from that man as we take a look at the replays as to what got them into the grand finals. And of course, Jorius was a man that you can blame for this huge dub and a big success for them. That dude kept coming with mechanics, Jordan.
This Oxygen team is exactly like how they're performing right now. I think is everyone saw this team on paper and they thought this could be one of the best teams, like if not the best team. If they all play to their potential, and apparently they all found each other, and this was the right concoction, at least for the EU Fall Open. Who's going to join them in the grand finals? We got a banger of a matchup. Revenge or just to get the bragging rights? Astral versus KC and Vatira versus Moist. Who will take it? Who will be in the grand finals? Find out after the break.
Became a king from a common man, and I turned my worst strikes to my strongest fan. They say the grace always aim high. That's why ain't no one can see us when it's game time.
The race towards victory at the European Fall Open drives forward as Oxygen completes their victory over Quadrant in the first semifinal of Championship Sunday. Welcome back to the Rocket League Championship Series. I'm Leaf X. Alongside me, Grelly, Jorby, and Turtle to break down that last semifinal there as we narrow things down. Only 3 teams remain, Turtle, as Oxygen find their way in the grand finals.
And they made quick work of Quadrant. I mean, I expected Oxygen to come out here and obviously have the advantage given the performance we saw yesterday. And Quadrant also looked fantastic. So there was still a coin toss, I think, to be had. But at the end of the day, Oxygen, they were on defense, absolutely held things down. They managed the bumps. They managed to dodge all of the aggression that was thrown their way. And then you get on offense and you've just got a well-oiled machine. Archie, Jorius, Oli, everybody was getting involved, knew where to be. The rotations felt perfect, I'd say, all series long.
So I feel like a lot of people would talk about Oxygen and their mechanics, and they'd be absolutely right with the way that they play. But one of the big things, especially if you look at games 1 and 3, was the challenge game. Game 1 was completely in favor of Oxygen. Game 3, it fell behind a little bit, but you could see the difference of the challenge game and how much it makes them kind of show off those mechanics.
I think Oli's the biggest reason for that. Like, he has been so consistent in the middle of this rotation. And even when they'd be put in tough spots, Oli was there to completely relieve the pressure for them and even start pushes.
Jorby, I'm gonna let you finish, but I think Archie deserves a spotlight right now. Archie, congratulations on the victory.
Thank you.
Welcome back. We're getting to talk to you a lot now.
Yeah, well, my teammates apparently can't speak English, so I don't want to do the interviews.
Fair enough. Hey, but you guys are killing it. Grand finals right now. This has to be awesome for the first regional coming in and popping off like this, especially when so many eyes were on other teams like Moist, Karmine, BDS. Of course, you guys were in conversation, but to just immediately prove this to people has to mean a lot to you guys.
Yeah, it means a lot. I mean, the bigger thing for me is that we're not even playing to our full capability right now. We still have a lot of errors we're doing in the game. So we've made grand finals and we've still got a lot to improve. So that's even better for me.
Archie, my question to you is more about how you go up against a team like Quadrant, because it felt like in some of these games, we've seen it in a few of your series as well, where I feel like sometimes you guys get a little bunched up defensively. You start to feel a little bit of the pressure. I talked a little bit about the challenge game. You could tell me if I'm right or wrong about that as well. But how do you view those situations, especially where you have to come back? Like I think it was game 3 where you guys were down a couple goals and it felt like you guys were playing a lot more defense. What do you guys have to change, or why do you think that happens to you guys?
I mean, I think we just get too confident after the first 2 games. We just sit back, think it's going to be a breeze, and then invite the pressure, and then they score goals because we sit back, and then they're good enough to score goals. So, but then after we concede 2, we're we have to score goals. So we do what we do best, and that's attack. So once we attack, we score. I don't think any team would be able to shut us out. It's pretty hard. We can always score. We've got Jorius. He can score out of nowhere. So,
right.
Definitely can, but you guys are going to play either Karmine Corp or Moist in the grand finals. Which opponent do you think is tougher and why?
I think that's similar. I think K-Corp play more defensive. They're kind of weird to play against. We played them in the qualifier. It seemed like they just have Vatira on the ball, and then the other 2 would just sit behind them or something. With Moist, we've never played them in RLCS, so we don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a toss-up for sure, but obviously with how you guys have performed today, it's been amazing. And I want to ask now, I mean, what did you think of the mechanics from Quadrant? They had your former teammate, Relating Wave. What were the mechanics like on the field there? I got to know.
I saw some flip resets coming out, actually.
Oh, yeah?
But, he didn't score, but when I saw the flip reset, I thought of Johnny Boy, every time. And I was I cannot concede now because he's going to tweet about it for, a month. So every time I saw a Wave go for a flip reset, I was like, nah. No way he's going. I think one time he went underneath me and my teammate saved it, so I was happy about that.
Yeah. Brilliant. All right. Well, the more you show up on the desk here, the more I'm going to start offloading our duties onto you. So I'm going to get a prediction from you from this matchup that's about to happen here, Moist, Karmine Corp. Who do you think is going to be facing you guys in the grand finals?
I mean, I feel like both teams want to beat each other so bad. But it's just down to it's like Vatira or Joe. Whoever pops off will win. I don't know. I think it'll be game 7, but I literally don't know who will win. It's literally 50-50.
All right, it's your second time. We won't make you actually the person. You can sit on the fence.
Okay, next time.
We'll let you sit on the
next
fence.
Yeah.
All right, Archie. Well, hopefully we'll see you down the desk again in the future here. But good luck in your match going forward. You're in the grand finals. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
And once again, I'll say it. Good luck.
Cheers. Thanks.
And as we said, Oxygen in the grand finals now as they wait for Moist and Karmine to finish their matchup in that last semifinals there. Corelli, this is, in my opinion, exactly the teams I would have expected to be here, just looking at these rosters before we've seen them play.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think the only missing team I think from this equation would probably be BDS. But even then, I don't think it's crazy to say that, they're vulnerable to the new rosters that we have on the pitch. And that clearly was the case when they went up against Quadrant. So I also think that, what Joyo said yesterday, this is the matchup that we all wanted. This was the matchup as fans that we wanted to see. There's a grudge match here that needs to be settled in this semifinals.
Moist versus Karmine, of course, change for Moist coming in. They have a huge fans base now, but Astro moving in. Jorby, how do you feel now that we've seen them on the field? Do they stack up to expectations of the last season?
Absolutely. They absolutely stack up. I mean, Astral's absolutely cracked at the game, but to me, it's the incumbent members of Moist that are continuing to impress. Joyo and Rise yesterday looked as impressive as ever. And that kind of Moist team going against K-Corp, who also have a massive fan base behind that. There's so many people just wanting to tune in for this game. And you heard Archie say it in the interview. He thinks it's completely 50-50. I'm having trouble figuring out who's going to win this series or not. But man, I can't wait for it. It's going to be amazing.
You're going to have to figure out. There's no more fence sitting going on. Fan votes are up. Chat, you have to pick hashtags in the chat, MST or Casey. And we're going to get the analysts. I hope you've been thinking because you knew you weren't going to escape this one. Archie gets a pass. You guys do not. Random pick here. You know what, Jorby? I'm going to make you pick. Go.
Oh, that's easy.
You're the victim.
Moist are going to grand. Let's get right, baby.
What is this?
Put it on the board.
This man's like, oh, dude, I don't know.
What do you mean? It's easy, Turtle. That was the easiest decision.
What do you mean?
Life,
Did you not hear your last few sentences? You're like, oh,
baited.
I
baited.
That's why I was making him pick. I'm like,
yeah.
Let's put him in the pressure.
This is unacceptable. I'll take that route. No, let me go. Okay?
Yeah, okay.
I'll take that route because I don't know who to pick. This is very, very difficult. The margin is slim between these two teams and what separates them. But for me, I want the drama. I want Karmine Corp. I want them to win. I truly think that Vatira, Exotic, Itachi, I think they're getting things figured out a little bit quicker here early on in the season. Other than that, I don't know.
Right.
I don't know, man.
Which way are you going, Crowley?
I think it's going to be a wet one out there. I'm going Moist. I feel like they have it right now. I think Casey's not there quite yet. We talked about that yesterday. I'm going with Moist.
Yeah, this is actually a really tough one, and I want to split the desk. You know what, Turtle? I'm standing with you. I'll stand with you, okay? I feel like these two might be right, but you look lonely over there. K-Corp on the board. Chat, because I feel like they're going to go Moist.
Ooh. Let's go, chat. That's exactly right. You all know how it goes.
This man
fan base got nothing on Moist. They got nothing on Moist.
Let's get this match running then. Shogun and Johnny are waiting over in the skybox for this incredible matchup. Two of the big dogs in Europe face off in our last semifinal. Karmine Corp and Moist fighting their way to the grand finals, but there can be only one.
We are eating good this split. We've already had Gamers First against BDS in the earlier rounds. Now in the semi-finals, we get Moist versus Karmine Corp. Vatira against his old teammates. And Johnny, whilst I don't feel like there's anything personal on in this one, there's always going to be that part that says, I really hope I made the right decision.
I think it might be personal in a few cases here, There's just so much at stake here. It's such a meaningful thing to get a deep run in your first tournament together, and to do it against your former team, it would be such a big deal. Already Karmine Corp are getting in a complete jam in defense there with all three players getting in each other's way. Moist starting off a little bit more loose. They look spread out. They already look like they've got an advantage here. A save on the goal line is required to keep Karmine Corp from conceding inside the first 30 seconds.
So to bring you up to date, during the off-season, Vatira moved away from Moist. We heard yesterday from Rise, I believe it was, who said this was not our decision. Vatira, he's the one that wanted this. He's gone over to Karmine Corp to try and prove himself on an org that he loves. He's brought along Exotic. He's brought along Itachi. It's now Vatira with the clear away. Just so many lingering doubts for everybody involved. On the field, off the field, everyone wants answers about a roster move that shocked everybody. It's Exotic does leave it. Itachi's there, but he's also blocked by Astral.
It's so interesting to see two teams switch players who really don't play Rocket League similarly at all. Vatira and Astral don't have a lot of things in common. The one thing they do have in common, however, is that they're ridiculously good at the game. Two of the best players in the world, certainly. Right now in Moist, we've got three really aggressive players. Players who are known for cutting rotation, players who are known for just solo playing entire teams by themselves. And I think on Karmine Corp, we got three defensive players. But they've both made it work. They're both here in the semi-final in a stacked bracket, a stacked tournament in Europe. So both teams have figured out a way to really not play that, 1, 2, 3, first, second, third man rotation. As it's going to be Moist to break the deadlock. Joyo with the first goal. Karmine Corp just could not get this one under control in the back corner.
Yeah, Vatira's mistouch did not help out considering Exotic was being harassed by Astral. Just everything going wrong at the worst possible time. And I do love that you brought up sort of the surprising replacements that were brought in, especially for Astral. But many people I was seeing yesterday saying that this actually looks for Astral and a team that you'd expect him to be struggling to find space. Like the most space and the most comfortable he's looked in quite some time. We'll see whether or not that works for him as Vatira up and sees his shot palmed away.
It's a great passing play. It's not going to lead to anything for Karmine Corp. I think the whole situation with Astral looking good in a more defensive role, Vatira looking good in a more offensive role, it really just goes to show how talented these players are and how adaptable these players are. And it also goes to show that Rocket League's more than just a first, second, third man game. You've got to be adaptable. Even if you are the priority defender or priority attacker in a team, you can't just rely on doing that. You need to be adaptable. You need to be able to play all positions. And these two teams are definitely capable of that. But this tournament, Moist have been the more consistent team at doing that. Karmine Corp still, I think, yet to really figure out in defense. Their one goal they've conceded this game coming from, like you said, a defensive mistouch. And Vatira's actually played that one away from Itachi as well. The synergy not working out so far for Karmine Corp.
Yeah, and it's been mistakes from Vatira that have been the most prevalent.
Yeah.
Important to note as well, Moist are the only undefeated team left, but Exotic can hit them as clean as that. That undefeated streak might not last.
Big 50-50 win from Itachi. Exotic up quickly, uncontested there. Rise was not expecting that ball to center that high across the box. He was circling towards the near post, wanted to fill that gap in the defense. The ball just arced over the top of him. Exotic was more ready for the high ball, which ended up being the outcome.
Into the midfield, Vatira, heavy first touch, wiped out by Rise. Vatira will be landing sometime before the game ends, but not quite yet, as he is now moved into the midfield. No follow-up option here for Exotic, who has got the ball played past him, and Rise has still got good control. It's him versus Vatira. Oh. Vatira pre-jumped it by quite a distance.
For a moment it looked like Rise might be about to mind game his little teammate there, but Vatira got the better of him and he's gone the whole way to set up Exotic's second goal of the game. Vatira steps up, air dribbling the entire length of the field, forces a missed touch from Astral, and now it's Karmine Corp with the 1-goal lead.
1 minute and 9 seconds remaining in this game as well. Anyone that's seen Vatira's ones play as well understand that he can go for those early jumps. He's so good at just loitering at the perfect height where you can't go underneath him. It's just a frustration because you feel like you've beat him. You feel like you've got him beat. He's already jumped. What else can he possibly do? And he goes to prove that actually it was always in his hands. Vatira already in the corner. Joyo past one, but Exotic will get that relatively unchallenged. Karmine Corp doing a good job actually on the transition game about not allowing Moist to get any contact. Is that number 3? Not quite yet. And now Astral on the breakaway.
Yeah, great save there from Joyo, but it looks like more trouble for Moist. Rise doing the smart thing here. Wise from Rise once again as he just slows the ball down, gives his teammates time to grab boost. And now here comes Joyo. Reset secured. It's going to be a drop down pass
this
from Rise.
so good if it goes in.
Skeptical, but Astral makes it work. That was a bit of a stretch, but it has ended up in the back of the net. The 3-man passing play from Moist ties the game.
That is so good. The two players that know each other better than anyone else combine together and give Astra his opportunity to score a team play worldie. But Exotic, the kickoff! Nice! Well, we saw this at the World Championships, and you can take Vatira out, but some things never change.
Oh my god, I just cannot believe Moist have done this.
Hold it for 18
Cannot
seconds.
believe it.
Oh, you can do it during the between games, but for now, Moist have got 18 seconds to get back.
Yeah, they've still got time. That is such a throw. What an incredible switch of momentum. They've just pulled off a 3-man passing play to tie the game, and then immediately afterwards, they just send full send the kickoff, and can see. I just can't believe this.
Well, Itachi has to get the ball to the floor, and they will finish this. Moist will not get another opportunity. Johnny, Karmine Corp stole it.
Yeah, what a...
Yeah, can I even say stole it? It was gift wrapped.
I mean, yeah, I wouldn't say... maybe they didn't steal it. Yeah, it was definitely gifted to them. They just took it. They just accepted. They accepted the gift.
Yeah, cheers, lads.
Did so well. The 3-man passing play was fantastic. The drop-down pass really coming at a very weird angle there. Completely surprised Vatira, who wasn't ready for it on the goal line. And then immediately afterwards, they just play a risky kickoff. It wasn't the first time that they did that in the game either. They just darted down the line with, Joyo darted down the line in defense. And that, of course, leaves the net wide open if the close cheat and dead ball kickoff doesn't go in their favor. We saw this exact same thing yesterday. It is just a complete unnecessary risk. You know, you do that if you're losing. You don't do that in a tight game with 18 seconds left.
Well, like I said, we saw that at the World Championship. At least the spirit of Moist has not changed, but maybe the kickoffs need to as we head into game number 2. Heading over to Aquadome. KC have got themselves on the board. Is there anything that you've noticed? Not again. Not surely. Again, it's just giving them the angles, and that actually is going to go in anyway. KC have full control right off the kickoff.
Yeah, just love that. Rise panics. He doesn't get that ball to safety at all. It's more of a pass than a clear. And Moist have had their moments here. They started off strong, and they did extremely well to bounce back in game number 1. But it's just all going wrong here. We've not seen any card changes yet. So as of game 1 and 2, we've got a complete Octane Moist versus Fennec Karmine Corp matchup. And you know, how much sense would that make for the Fennecs to be the more consistent and careful cars, and the Octanes to be the ones throwing themselves around and making the risky plays? Yeah, I think it does make a lot of sense. It's been talked about by a lot of pros that, you know, the Octane is a more chaotic car, and the Fennec is what you do when you want to play controlled. And that's what Karmine Corp have done well so far in these games.
Rise, has he got the reset? Well, he doesn't have any boost. It's going to make this... Well, I was going to say getting back was going to take a while, but the demo's certainly going to help him with that. Astral trying to line Exotic up. That comes out to Joyo. 2 players jumped. Itachi lands well, though. Booms the ball long. Vatira looking for another set. And despite a bit of a rough start to this series, Vatira has settled down very well. Itachi waited too long. Rise. Happy just to snatch that one away from him.
Yeah, very nice defensive play from Itachi's. Keeping an eye on where the threats are coming from. Cut off an infield pass not long ago. You know, we had a chance to talk to Itachi yesterday in the post-match interview after their quarterfinal win. He says that, you know, that's what they're really trying to do, is just have everyone take their turn being that third, and everyone take their turn slowing down the play. If you've got to make an interception, then just go ahead and do it. It's an open net, surely. And it will go bottom left. Astral had a bit of the goal covered. Bottom left corner. Will gladly welcome Vatira's shot.
Man, this is so difficult for Moist to deal with right now. Every time Karmine Corp land on the ground, their first instinct is to take out the goalkeeper. Astral, I feel, has done a magnificent job of avoiding those bumps, but when you're getting attacked that often, something is going to land. And Karmine Corp, well in sync, have got the players ready to follow. And that was maybe the key word coming into this one. 2 new rosters. Vatira up against Rise, and Rise will be happy that was right at him. But Vatira and the rest of his squad look in sync.
Yeah, to make matters even worse for Moist, and to really make Karmine Corp fans all the happier. You know, we've had a lot of kickoffs to criticize this weekend, but I've got no bad things to say about that last one from Karmine Corp. 2-goal lead. Did they cover the goal? Yes, they did. Vatira half flipped the right way, had the net covered, so even if there was an early shot, it would not have been a problem for them to deal with. to them. If we're going to be calling out teams for mistakes like the one Moist made at the end of game 1, the same way we've got to give credit to Karmine Corp for doing it right in game 2.
Exotic. Who's going to be the follow-up on this? KC are just taking their spots now. We discussed this on Friday, Johnny, about how the team that is winning want as little chaos as possible. They want a boring game of Rocket League, and the team that's behind, they need chaos. They need to just start everything happening. If there is a team that is capable of doing that, Moist are the team that can do that.
Yeah, they're a team who really have thrived in chaotic situations and continue to look like a team who are going to benefit from that sort of game, but Karmine Corp are not giving it to them. They're spreading out, they're covering as many options as they can, and they seem like they've got multiple players ready for any push that Moist make. Joyo trying to fire the ball long for Astral. He's really banged that one on past Astral, who wasn't in a bad position by any means. This shows that Moist are really pushing themselves to the limit here. That was a thunderous clear, and unless you connect it, then it's just going to be a giveaway of possession.
Nice.
Once again, they've sent it hard down the middle. Karmine Corp are in position.
I do love that they are leaving multiple players around as Joyo, 2 players sent. And that was enough to keep that ball away. But with 80 seconds on the clock, this is Moist's opportunity. And it's just got taken away. Vatira outplaying everybody. Can't quite find the stair. Astral has to play the defensive side of the ball. He cannot afford to look for anything else. But this is such a bad position. And Vatira knew that he had it scored before he even arrived at the ball.
Rise and Astral both committing to the corner challenge. Joyo a bit late back. Went for the in and out save. Not able to connect it. So, whereas Karmine Corp are now the team who are really, I think, just looking dominant in the midfield. They look quick. Anytime that Moist trying to make something happen, Karmine Corp are there to react to it, and then Karmine Corp make a simple play happen. Even in a back corner, you've got Moist players double committing, panicking. So they look like the team who are struggling to hold it all together here in the grudge match. Tira and his new team, meanwhile, is completely cold. There's not a mistake to be seen from these guys. Well, actually, just I say that. They drive into each other, but even that's going to go somewhat in their favor.
Oh, Vatira's still sticking around. 40 seconds, 3-goal lead. It's a little bit of a sign of KC thinking that this one's already done and they can just go for some style. And as with 30 seconds left now, this has been so good from Karmine Corp.
Dominant. 14
Are we
shots
saying timeout after this? Surely.
Oh, yeah, has to be a timeout here for Moist. If not, I think mainly just to settle down the nerves, if that's what they want to put this down to. If they just want to put it down to, a bad start to the series, that's fine by me as well. But they've got to slow down the Karmine Corp momentum, especially in an emotionally charged match like this one. Karmine Corp are synergizing to a higher level than Moist. They are reading Moist to a much higher level than Moist are able to read them. And when you've got 3 mechanical players all in the Fennec, like Karmine Corp, you've got to try and make things unpredictable. You've got to try and get them out of their comfort zone. Moist, known for doing that to pretty much every team that they play against, completely unable to do it in this second game.
For me, whilst most of it has been going KC's way, the big thing has been those transitions, and we do get the confirmation, a timeout by Moist. They have to, really. But for me, the transition game has been the big one because it is the tale of 2 completely different halves. Karmine Corp, if they want to pass out, it's working fine. If they want to air dribble it out, they seem to just mix up the heights enough that Moist Esports cannot get enough purchase on the ball, or if any purchase on the ball. And you look on the other side, Moist can't surprise KC at the moment. Nothing they do results in too much panic.
And I think that is the main problem for Moist is that even in series where they're losing, even in series where they're trailing, which historically it's something that happens fairly often. They've had to make many a reverse sweep in the past. They've had to go to game 5 many times, and it's usually the game 5 ice and the refusal to give up on a series which is not going well for them. That's what's made Moist Esports such a legendary team to watch, but they've not had any of that today. They had that perfect chance in game 1, late equalizer. Momentum swings back in their favor at the closing stages of the game, and then they just threw it away with a risky kickoff strategy. They've been punished, and game 2 is completely in favor of Karmine Corp. Moist have got to figure out a way, even on days like this. In the past, they've always got their unpredictability to fall back on. That's what I'll be looking out for in this third game. Can they be unpredictable, because right now it looks like everything that they try to do, Karmine Corp are one step ahead of them.
Well, so far for Europe, it is the 6-1 record after a timeout has been called for the team that did call the timeout, going ahead to win it. The Moist need more of the same. This is their one timeout, been and gone. Still, KC will have theirs if they feel like they need it later on. But right now, it is all about Moist, just finding something different. And I always find that, for me, the sign that we are seeing a very dominant series is when we end up talking about the midfield game and saying it's won, so easily by one particular team, because that means we're saying the other team's not really got anything going yet. We can't go in to everything else that the other team's doing because we're not really getting an opportunity to see it. Outside of a couple of misplays in game one, it has been nothing else for Moist, and they need something, anything, especially this first goal. We are heading into game number 3, DFH Stadium. Let's see if the answers have been found.
Luckily for Moist, hold that thought. They've almost conceded again. In fact,
it's the same.
2 shots. I mean, they don't even have a chance to, talk about the positives for Moist in this matchup, as they've almost conceded another kickoff goal. It's all going wrong from the only set piece in the game for them. I was going to say, luckily for them, they just need one of their players, any of their players, to step up and make that big play. They're all capable. We've seen it from them all in the past. Rise, Joyo, and now Astral have all been known for their ability to make that one big play happen that can completely turn around the momentum of a series. The issue in game 2 is that none of them were able to make that play. They were all trying. They were all investing a lot of their boost on every single play, trying to catch Karmine Corp by surprise, trying to force them into awkward positions. Nobody was able to actually make it stick, as a crossbar shot now comes in for Rise. They're going to keep the ball active in the Karmine Corp half here. Joyo just has to vacate the area. Boost being invested heavily by Moist on these attacking plays, with no real shots to show for it. Now there's one. Rise denied by his former teammate Matira.
Just needs to start going in for Moist. That was the best passage of the play they've had in quite some time, but still nothing to show for it. You will expect to see more of that. Joyo's trying to get there in time, but Itachi too strong.
Once again, it is Karmine Corp who just have what it takes to force the issue. Itachi placing the ball behind the pre-jumping goalkeeper there. He forces it into the bottom corner. The Moist just don't look comfortable. They don't look ready. They don't look prepared. Whenever Karmine Corp advance, they're having to quickly turn around. They're having to reposition because they're not preemptively in the right places to stop these attacks from working.
Right now, I'm looking towards Rise a little bit. I'm not saying he's necessarily the player that I feel like has been struggling the most. He's just usually the player that I can rely on the most to be popping off. And right now, he has just not had the opportunity to. It's usually Rise plus somebody. Right now, it's nobody. Nobody has had a chance. It's been KC all over them. Joyo going to try and find a way out of here. And Astral just has to jump, loiter, buy some time, hope for some help to turn up. A good clear, though. Follow from Rise, unchallenged for quite a while, and that's actually a player out of nowhere. Can they get somebody to follow up? No, instead Exotic just calmly guides the ball away and says that there was no problem at all.
I think the game plan for Moist appears to be just to stick with the fast-paced Rocket League and try and force the issue here against Karmine Corp. And based on what we've seen so far today, I don't think that's the way to play this. I feel like this synergy that we've seen from Moist this tournament, the passing plays, the spread out positioning, the options that they've usually got in every attack, that's been missing for me today. It doesn't look like they've got options whenever they move forward. They've got maybe one, sometimes none at all. And I think if they were just a little bit more spread out in the field, they'd have more to aim for. They'd have more to really shoot for. And that's actually a decent team pitch. Just getting bounced off the ceiling before being saved by Exotic. Where are those dangerous passing plays in the final third from Moist? Where are those connections that we're so used to seeing?
This feels like we need more of what we expect from Moist, but Casey also might be hoping for it as we get a couple of demos through and no follow-up. Casey can reposition.
Yeah, Rise was not contested on that aerial, but he just missed it. He's just feeling the pressure here, trying to go as fast as he can, trying to get the early read. And they've decided that anything less
just
than
hit 50 score
as fast as possible is not going to work. They're just not putting it together here. Down by one still. They're in this, but the longer they go without seeing any success, and after a timeout as well, the less they're going to believe in themselves.
We need that reverse sweep if they want to bring it back if they lose this one. As I'm sure you heard an awful lot throughout Worlds and throughout London. That's not really all that easy. Furia got very close. That close is about as good as most teams are able to do. There's Exotic. I'm getting too much on it, but it does bump Astro away. Well, you're on the wrong side of the ball. You might as well make something of your position.
And just look at what just one small 50-50 win can do, just out of nowhere. A little 50-50 and just a tiny bump is all it took to get the entire Moist roster out of position, because they're all stacking up on one side of the field. They're all queuing up, waiting for their chance to make a play on the ball. I think they're really just rushing it here. They've got to be a bit more patient, as now they almost concede again. Is another instance of just everybody wanting to move forward, everybody wanting to aggress the ball. They're not being patient with this one at all. They're being continually punished. That's surely going to be another one. Exotic puts it over the line. I don't think Vatira even needed any help with this one. Great stuff by Karmine Corp. Completely dominant performance ever since that kickoff goal for game number 1.
I think for a lot of KC fans, despite how good they have been, there will still be that sigh of relief, because if there's any team that you do not want a goal behind you with 0 seconds on the clock, it tends to be Moist. So getting that second goal, getting that comfort, absolutely massive for them, and it will be reverse sweep required.
Crazy.
Vatira holds all the cards right now. Moist need to shuffle the deck, because at the moment, this is looking so rough as they do get one to take for the road.
Right, there's your second goal, the classic Moist 0 second goal, but like you said, Karmine Corp had that 2-goal advantage, so they're quite okay in this situation. That's why you need to be 2 goals up against this team, and Rise, the guy who's always scoring those 0 second goals in particular. But yeah, the Moist guys just do not look composed when you look at how they're positioning on the field, and when you look at how they're reacting when it's their turn to make a play on the ball. They just look rushed. They look like they're not feeling comfortable on the pitch right now, whereas Karmine Corp, just composure personified. Every move that they make and every decision that they make just seems to be calculated and effective, and really more than anything else, efficient. Moist have not been any of those things today.
So we've had an awful lot of talk here about Moist, about Vatira. I want to talk a little bit about Exotic and Itachi, because Exotic is a player that I feel like we've had eyes on for an awful long time about this guy could really be something. He looks comfortable right now. This is a high level matchup, and it's like he's always been here. This has been his series, and I feel like he's been the player.
I'm delighted for him. Exotic, we've talked about this in the past, season 9 of Rival Series. He qualified for RLCS. Then the open format happened, and in RLCS Season X, he did not really make any splashes. Same thing that in the last RLCS season. Really nothing to write home about until Semper signed him for the last split. They made World Championship, and people started to take notice of Exotic and think, hold on, maybe this guy is more than a ranked player. And it's phenomenal to finally see him on a top-tier team and to let him show what he can do, because I feel like he's been at this level for a long time. He just never had the team in order to show it, and this is his chance. He's seizing it with both hands.
And same thing over there for Itachi, because it's one of the... Oh, wait a minute. That's them caught out. And Rise. Oh, Itachi will get to you soon enough, mate, because for now, Rise wants to make it the Moist show.
Yeah, it looks like Exotic was expecting Vatira to at least get a 50-50 there. So he advanced into a position where he could react to said 50-50. But Vatira actually did not have any boost, so there's no chance that he could get to the ball. Not sure if that was communicated quickly enough in order for Exotic to make the correct decision, or if he just did not react to that information being told to him. Either way, what we do know is that Exotic was off his line, and that completely left him incapable of defending the simple shot. Moist 1-0.
That is also Moist first. No, actually, I completely forgot about the 0 second goal. That ruins what I was about to say, and we might be about to add another one.
Oh my.
Exotic clears, and actually, that was a large commitment. Is that open? Who wants it? Somebody claim it. What? Oh, they've not scored it! Oh, dearie me. Well, unfortunately, KC, that one's going to get replayed for a few years.
Oh, just as we're singing his praises, Exotic completely misses the open net. To make matters worse, had he just hit that any more softly, one of his teammates would have been able to catch up to it and put it in.
Moist score as well. Oh my goodness.
It's 2-0 Moist. Well. A twist in the script. Just when you thought it's all over, Karmine Corp make a massive mistake, and Moist put another goal in the bag.
Casey just went onto the field and twisted their own ankle. And that's the only way I can describe that play. By the way, good news for everybody. Yeah, even the pros missed the open nets. They shouldn't, but hey, Moist are certainly not complaining.
That was the biggest open net. He could have hit that to the right and put it out for, essentially a throw-in if we had no walls.
They had 3 people, between them and the goal, and Moist were entirely behind the entire team. They were not getting there.
It was more than an open net miss. That was an open, anywhere but there.
That's an open
miss.
field.
If he literally hit the ball in any other way but that, I think it's a goal. Just hit it off up into the air, hit it into the grounds, control it, pass it to your teammate, score. Obviously, anywhere but exactly wall hugging, and it's the goal. But that was the perfect touch if you're trying to not score. So, in a way, it is impressive, but for the wrong reasons.
Well, for now, it's up to KC. I mean, they want us to stop talking about this. Go and score a goal, make a game of this. Because they have handed it away. A gift from Moist in the first game has been given a gift back as they get the demo on the back line. Nothing else for it so far, but Tira off the backboard. Second touch, Exotic is there! And Exotic will be denied.
We can probably put any Exotic mistake in this game down to that mistake that he made earlier on. It's a tough one to forget about. It's a tough one to just reset your mental on until you do get a chance at a timeout. But we also saw Itachi completely air an uncontested low aerial moments ago. So it's not just Exotic here. Suddenly, Karmine Corp looked to be a little bit rattled. That's bizarre.
Take a timeout. Take a timeout after this one.
I would take a timeout.
Genuinely, might as well.
Actually, not even joking. Take the timeout after this loss. You need it. It's just one of those games. It's a silly game. It happens. Like you said, it happens to pros. But when it does happen, you've got to reset the mental. You've got to get that restart because Karmine Corp, other than that today, have looked solid.
Yeah, it's very clearly been a detriment to what we've seen from KC in this series. And you don't want that bleeding over to another 5 minutes of gameplay. Take the timeout, reset, go in fresh for the rest of the 15 minutes that you might have left. What a save! Astro! I thought he wasn't here to defend like Vatira. That looked pretty brilliant to me.
Perfect pass from Vatira, but Astral just got goal side of it and put in an unbelievably good 50-50. That needed to be in order to go clear of the danger. What a critical save as well. Had Karmine Corp sliced that lead from 2-1, we could have easily seen another kickoff goal. Could end up at the back of the Moist net based on how things are going today. So it's absolutely critical that Moist don't go back to the kickoff today. They've got to keep this at 2-0 if they're going to close this one out consistently.
Drops down. We're heading towards that sort of zone with a 2-goal lead. Looks more and more solid. Itachi wanted to keep it going. He's actually got the bump on Astral, used the ball for a reset and then just slid away. 30 seconds. Moist inching closer and closer. Their first game win. Itachi back to the corner. Has he got the setup? Vatira went early and couldn't find the ball. Exotic looking for one final opportunity. And if they can just get this ball away Moist, then it will be their game to take. And I'm sure this was not how they imagined starting to make their comeback, but they will fully take it. Moist Esports 1, Karmine Corp 3.
So we do have a series in our hands still. A long, long way to go. Like you mentioned, the amount of...
They're not looking like that,
week,
surely.
Yeah, I'm not going to subscribe to it yet. I don't see a reverse sweep happening, really, if I'm honest with you, based on how Moist have played this one today. You've got to think that Karmine Corp are going to be able to bounce back. I've not heard anything about a timeout yet, but they've still got that in the bag. If they end up losing another game, I'm sure they would take one. But I guess they're just going to try and just get that mental reset in the 1 minute. No additional time needed. Maybe they view the timeout as a sign of weakness. They don't want to let on their...
It's admitting that it went wrong.
Let their biggest rivals know that they're inside their own heads.
Yeah, I mean... So for Moist, it's great. You're on the board. You got it. But you didn't necessarily show a play style that every time we see this, we're after, okay, is that something you can replicate? We're not really looking at if Moist can replicate that. You're just basically asking, do Karmine Corp do that 3 more times? And the answer is surely no. It's like, it's still on Moist for me to make us believers, you know, show us something that you can do 3 more times.
Yeah, it is impressive. You know, we had a messy game there, but we've got to talk about how impressive Karmine Corp's defense in midfield has been today, because that was for me the biggest question mark in the earlier stages of this tournament. They just did not look like they were organized at all, whereas today they've been extremely organized. They've got a game plan and they're sticking to it. So that's, I think, been the big difference. Look at how easy it is for them to get through Moist once again. As a 50-50 goes in their favor, Itachi just controls the engagement completely. Astral decides to turn around and come at that one from another angle. It didn't work out at all.
And that's so big for Karmine Corp as well, because whilst we do go from one map to another, the best way to put a bookend on what was a pretty poor game for themselves. Oh, wait a second. Exotic is just going to get there in time. The shot wasn't on target anyway. But the best way to put a bookend on it and just reset yourself entirely is just to get the goal. All right, cool. None of it matters anymore. We're right back to doing what we do best. And pressure straight back over to Moist. Astral looking for the outplay of everybody. He's got Exotic jumping, and they've created so much space. Astral made himself big, made everyone respect him.
And this is what we've been waiting for from Moist. Astral, they're faking the stealing play, just jumps back down to the ground. Missed touch from Karmine Corp, you know, trying to get a read of what Astral is doing there. Exotic trying to drop it down in the corner. Rise reads him and follows up quickly for the shot. Kickoff's gone.
Oh, there's the third man.
Away though, and it will go in the back of the net. Rise commits from the back corner. He knew there was a threat here, tried to 50-50 the ball to safety, but Itachi completely absorbed him. That left it open for Vatira. Another kickoff goal for Karmine Corp.
What's the old Fairy Peak 50-50 mantra? Just don't lose it. That's all Itachi had to do. Just don't lose it.
How do you win 50-50s? You try not to lose them. It's the, you know, the way. It's so tempting to try and get a big win on every 50-50, but you're last man and there's 3 players standing up in front of you. Probably a better idea to just try and, you know, make sure that one goes sideways. It's anywhere but staying exactly where it is.
Well, there's actually nobody left, and what a pass! What a goal! I need to see if I'm absolutely certain Vatira is pre-jumped. I just don't believe it. But,
He's just so
oh, wow. It looks it half the time.
The pass was perfect. Exotic just fired that one into the lane that Vatira wanted it to be in. And he could get up immediately for it and slam it in with absolutely nothing left up to chance. Now Rise with a chance quickly after the kickoff is taken. This is what Moist want. They need volatility. They need quick fire opportunities. And once again, their attack breaks down off the back of a, you know, kind of a reasonable clear ball. I wouldn't say that was a hard clear. It was just somewhere near the midfield line. But it's still going over the top of Moist. They're committing so far forward time and time again.
You need to get contact on balls like that one. 4 goals scored. You wouldn't think that we're only 90 seconds into this game, but we are. And that is plenty of time for Moist to work with. Cannot let another one go past them, though. Joyo, a couple of wall dashes. Oh, Joyo actually almost landed on that one. Don't quite know where that would have gone otherwise. Now Itachi. Quick transition to the opposite side of the field. Set up Exotic off the backboard. Astral drops it back down to Joyo. This is where the majority of the difficulty has been. They just can't get rid of it. As Rise gets a very crucial touch. But that midfield is owned by KC. And this series could be as well.
And far too many touches just going over the head of the entire Moist lineup. Rise and Joyo both advancing there at the exact same time. All goes over their heads, and it's just an awkward one to try and turn around and read. It's been the story of the series for me, or one of them. There's been a few, of course. Moist are just so eager to get into attack, but they're forgetting to look out for potential 50-50s going against them. They're forgetting to look out for dangerous clears going over their heads. Meanwhile, Karmine Corp just clinical with every advancing move that they make, not taking any unnecessary risks. And even with that chaotic game that they've lost, prior to this, they didn't even need a timeout to reset the mental. They've just gone and smashed Moist in the first half of Game 5.
Zera looking to try and add the finishing touch. He's almost got the doink goal, but it's just going to slide past the goal. Instead, Itachi fakes out. Everyone's got to respect these aerials. And Moist just don't seem to know how they are going to get out of a position like this one. They're the team that need 3 goals. They do not look like it at the moment. AC comfortably in control of their side of the field. And this looks like it could be vindication.
They've been far better today. We've seen a completely one-sided matchup, and it's been one-sided in terms of the game plan. It's been one-sided in terms of the strategy. Oh, that's a great goal to Rise. Reads to the backboard miss and gives Moist a lifeline. I was about to say that it's been one-sided mechanically as well, because I really do think that Karmine Corp, despite not being flashy with it, have been the quicker of the two teams and the more effective with their touches, the more efficient with their boost management. Those are mechanical, aspects of the game. They've dominated that as well. But just before I could say that, Rise doubles in the second goal, and there's still time on the clock. There's another double. This one's saved by Itachi.
Let's just explode into the series instead of Tachi, looking to quiet them down just a little bit more. Astral off the wall up against Vatira. Good pass back to Rise, but that's not going to trouble anybody. And let's have a look at transition game from KC. Can they get the ball out of this side of the field? There's 3 players all in the corner. It's a 3-man wall, and they have escaped. Exotic sets himself up. He fakes out, but it doesn't quite work. Joyo is not letting that one happen to him, and quite rightly so.
Exotic once again showing his value, bouncing back individually. It's a bit of a team fail in that last game, but Exotic, of course, had the big open net miss, which denied Karmine Corp the sweep, or the setup for the sweep at least. But he is right back into action in this game, and really proving himself as a top-tier player. And speaking about proving yourself, Vatira silencing all the doubters right now. So many question marks about his departure of Moist, his decision to leave as well, as has been spoken about openly by both himself and his former teammates. Right now, that looks like a decision which has immediately resulted in success. Grand final just 20 seconds away.
Them versus Oxygen. Both teams looking dominant in their semi-final matchups. But unless we get a goal from this push, then it looks like that is the way we are going to go. Rise looks for one more. They are not going to get one extra kickoff. Instead, Karmine Corp find their vindication. They move on.
Absolutely dominant as well. They have destroyed Moist Esports. And, other than the 2-2 scoreline in game 1, there was not another moment in this series where it looked like Moist were in this one. Karmine Corp rolled them over completely. They had a better game plan, and they had even without one, I think they still looked like the better players in the pitch today. Moist looked rattled. They looked like they're rushing themselves. It looked like the pressure really got to them, and this is a grudge match. I think that this was personal, at least in some ways, and it looked like that affected Moist Esports more than it affected Karmine Corp. So they just couldn't get their game plan to work out today. We've seen brilliance from Moist even in this tournament. I think this roster will work out this split and this season, but today belongs to Karmine Corp.
And now I want to go back to what I was going to try and say earlier. I think now is the better time than any. Itachi holding the line for his team in that winning game over on Karmine Corp last season. He had Nolly and Astral both were teammates. That's 2 teammates that whenever we see them on teams, they're the players that people talk about. Itachi relatively unheralded on the majority of the rosters that he has been on. Today, he got to prove that he's not just along for the ride. Johnny, we're going to get a chance to talk about this more after the break, but we're going to head over there. When we come back, grand finals time.
Became a king from a common man, and I turned my worst critics to my staunchest fans. They say the great, so it's aim high. That's why ain't no one can see us when it's game time. place to hide? Will you free my mind? Following the lights of a world that's blind. In your eyes I see there's a place for all I seek to find is a world that's mine. Need a place to hide. Will you free my mind? Following the lights of a world that's blind. In your eyes I see there's a place for me.
Our grand finals are set. As before the break, Karmine Corp came out triumphant over Moist. Welcome back to the European Fall Open Championship Sundays, as we have finally narrowed ourselves down to the final two. I'm Leaf, Corelli, Shogun, and Johnny Boy joining me to break that last match down and talk about the fantastic match you're about to see. Johnny Boy, let's get into breaking this one down so we can start talking about the grand finals here. What is showing from the K Corp?
Yeah, definitely not Moist's day. I think that they've got a lot to improve on with that match. I think that they will. I really do believe in that team as a trio. But wow, K-Corp saving the best until the last day. They really have performed brilliantly here. I think we didn't give enough love to Tachi on the cast there. Probably we didn't expect the game to be over after 5. We thought we'd have more time to praise him, but this is the guy Karmine Corp built a team around, and it was in question a lot when Astral and Nolly were removed from the roster. A lot of people thinking, well, what did Itachi do to deserve a team built around him? But he's still, I think, last season underrated, even though he was rated pretty highly. This guy's world class, and he's shown that you don't only want to be looking at the flashy plays when you build a team around a player. He's so solid. He can do it all, and he said it in the interview yesterday that that's what their game plan is. They want 3 players who can do everything. If they're called upon to defend, attack, dominate the midfield, they can do everything.
It was again a lot quicker than I think maybe a lot of people were expecting and hoping. Maybe Corelli. I mean, we saw this Moist Karmine matchup and we're like, yeah, this is going to be great. Maybe a game 7, but that wasn't the story.
Well, even by Itachi's own account, when we did the interview, he was saying how he knew that I don't think they'd reached, or he said that we didn't reach our full potential in our previous matchup against Tundra, and that was kind of a scrappy matchup anyways. But I think that they did reach most of their potential here against Moist. Of course, they could probably be even better than what we saw here in the semifinal, but they have a very interesting matchup against Oxygen as well, because it does feel like at times they look very similar, but then stark differences between them as well.
Well, let's start talking about that matchup because it's the only one we have left here before we crown a champion. Karmine Corp going up against Oxygen Esports. Shogun, this is, in my opinion, a great grand finals because we're starting to see a couple different faces make it to the top here. I mean, you look at last season, okay, Moist, BDS, but they're not here anymore.
Listen, we've started off today. Well, we started the weekend saying top 6. We came in today saying top 7, but those numbers aren't going to stick around. That's going to start whittling away and get smaller and smaller. And when you win tournaments like this one and start off on the right foot, your name suddenly goes in there as major contenders, world championship contenders way down the line. We're not going to start thinking about that just yet. For K-Corp and Oxygen, this is massive. And there's so many teams, so many players that want to prove to themselves that the off-season went well. This is how you do it. Go and win that first tournament of the entire season.
With a matching win rate, that will change after this, as only one team can take the crown. Chat, we want to get you involved and see who you think is taking the victory here. It's the fan vote time. Hashtag KC, hashtag OXG. Right now in the chat, it's the last chance for the European Fall Open for you guys to get involved. So start spamming away. Analysts, let's get our predictions out here. I know it's getting competitive for the 2 down on the end there. You guys have had keeping track a lot more than the rest of us are. So let's get you guys on the board first here. Johnny, if you want to start us off.
Well, I've got it back, Karmine Corp here. You know, we were talking earlier on in the pre-show about England and UK really being on top. There were 6 English and UK players in the tournament at the start of the day. That's down to 1, and just like every time that the UK seems to have more players at the end of a tournament, all the French players remain still 2 out of 2. So it's still France's region, I think. Karmine Corp taking down Moist. They've peaked at the right time. Oxygen definitely looked dangerous. I had them in the final at the start of the day, but I did have them losing the final, so I'm not going to change on that. Karmine Corp for the win.
Shogun.
Listen, I came in today pretty far behind, and I've turned it around. I was the only one of all of us that went K-Corp in the previous matchup, and I'm sticking with them over here. They're going the entire way. I was so impressed by both squads. Both of them were dominant in their semifinals, but I think K-Corp had a higher bar to climb over, and they did it so well.
I got momentum going into it, Corelli.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that point from Shogun. I really like the way Oxygen's playing right now, and I like the confidence from Archie as well. And I think when these types of players are playing with that confidence, especially when they are in a grand final like they are here, I think they're going to see a new peak here. And I like this Oxygen squad. I don't think this will be the last time we see them in a final, so I'm going Oxygen.
Well, I guess we're splitting it by region here because I'm also going Oxygen. I've had my eye on them. The second I saw this roster and the rest of the field, I'm like, this is a team we're going to see a lot of, and the fact they're in the grand finals makes me happy to stand by them. So I'm going to continue the whole way through and go Oxygen. Chat, grand finals. Who's it going to be? Oh, okay. They're not with us, Corelli.
We knew that was going to happen, though.
I think Karmine Corp is honestly a reasonable pick here, but Cole and Stumpy are waiting in the skybox, so let's send it over to them. Our first grand finals for the European region have arrived. With Oxygen and Karmine Corp writing their own stories, the question is, which one is telling a tale of triumph?
Triumph is very much on the line here, as this is also going to be the first time we're going to see a new winner other than Moist or BDS since Fall Regional 3 last season, back when Endpoint won with Seiko on their side. Can Vatira technically keep a third of that record going, or is it going to fall to Oxygen to tear it away from his grasp?
It really goes to show the beautiful open way this season is developing. Every season in the RLCS now has developed so many players capable of achieving so much with nothing to stop them but the limit of their own skill. And the limit of these two teams' skill is impossibly high. Both of them have made it in the semi-finals looking pretty simple, and it's Oxygen that start off better in the finals.
I mean, that 50 going perfectly centrist, and I think you'd expect to see from Jorius. Near enough every time he's got a 50 so far, including yesterday, including through the entirety of Swiss, which Oxygen managed to sweep, they were popping out exactly where any of his teammates were, and him and Oli have linked up time and time again for plays like that. Again, though, Archie on the receiving end of Oli's pass, and we've just seen how well Exotic and the boys performed earlier on versus Moist. But only missing that shot, you have to call into question, can they handle what Oxygen put up earlier in the day?
I mean, the pressure is completely different once you're in the grand finals, no matter how much experience you have. And these are players for Oxygen that haven't won a regional in a very long time, if they ever have. Does Casey come forward? Not that one off the crossbar. The biggest question mark for Oxygen right now, this late stage, is Casey continue to come on attack? Itachi puts someone onto the backboard. Will Oxygen be able to see this one away? Yes, they will, and it's going to be 50-50. But the man I was going to say, Oli, he's never finished that high in tournaments like this. He has peaked in third, but that was only once. Like I say, Stumpy, the grand final's completely different. The pressure is higher, and that is why KC, they equalize.
You talk about players that perform. Vatira, he has won it all at some point. Back in the spring major, he took it alongside Moist, the team that East has taken down in his brand new French-Belgian mix-up squad. And there were question marks around that move. Is Vatira just going to a worse team? Why would Moist ever change? Why is that decision to be made? But my word, they have been phenomenal. They have been a wall of force that anybody is going to struggle to come up against. And having such a dominant win over Moist is something that I don't think many people saw. Nobody on the desk, apart from Shogun, actually saw that happening as well. So it was an incredible feat for them so far, and a win that would absolutely be the cherry on top.
Well, Oxygen are going to come forward again with Archie in the corner. He tries to get in the end of his own hit into the corner. After getting it past Exotic, did well, but couldn't quite steer it goalwards. Jories with a huge pinch there for Oxygen. We're seeing a lot of pinches so far this regional. It seems that when teams are put on the back foot, they're able to just send that ball right down to the other end more and more consistently. Now the mechanic is really starting to be excelled at by these great players. Now only a mechanical player. Archie's in the center, wants to get that, but realized that Itachi would just about get there in time. I think it's fair to say, Stumpy, that so far KC are meeting their match in this first game.
Yeah, it's been a lot more midfield play, and although we had that early goal going in for Oli from the 50 off Jorius, it eventually found itself 2 minutes later at a 1-1 scoreline. I mean, both these teams are going to be wanting to put as much forward as they can, but when you look at how Karmine Corp have how they have approached this event so far, their defense has been ridiculous. They are currently first in goals allowed with over 1.1 per game, But then they've also had the most shots against with 5.5 per game. So they are defending. They are then sending them also down the opposite side. And Jorias, he is the man who is going to need to try and push his way through because he has scored a goal in the last 10 games and has got 16 total with just around 1.6 per game. So that defense, although it's been incredible, they are coming up against the scariest attacker that they could in the form of the Dutchman.
Well, there's a scary attack of KC's own. Itachi's going to put this one on and try and keep it going. It was saved a couple of times there by Oxygen. Exotic to the backboard. Oli's already there. Oxygen happy to defend when the time is right, but always want to come forward. I love their quarterfinals up against Gamers First. Such an aggressive style of play. Then they came up against the more defensive Quadrant earlier. That was KC. The balance that they showed against Moist earlier on today just made them unable to deal with it. Jory is in the air. Wants to find Archie, but Batir is there, streaming to his own goal. Actually gets the catch, and it is quite a slow piece of play now. The ball just lingering on the floor. Is anyone able to control it and send it to a teammate? Archie tries to flick that one along to Jorias, but Batir will send it wide.
And if anybody missed that Oxygen game versus Quadrant earlier, it was phenomenal. It was a show of just the determination shown by Oxygen. It was a 4-0. 2 of them were overtimes. In the other game, that managed to go to just 1 goal difference. And in the first, had a 3-goal differential. So it came down to Oxygen being so pressure heavy, and they managed to bring it out at the best moment they could have done.
Jorias has to beat Vatira here. They both leave it, actually, but Vatira is able to get it away. Itachi, the unsung hero, as we established earlier on the desk, was doing all sorts of damage to the goalkeeper. But sadly for him, Vatira couldn't quite get it round. Now it is Itachi. Sets up for Vatira again, involved in everything the Moroccan.
He stays on it.
Waiting. He does. He just is constantly on that ball, constantly putting threads for his team. But sadly for him, he's going to have to go back and start again from the corner.
This Jory is though challenging yet again, trying to get a couple more shots on target. Archie up against Vatira in the corner. Exotic can beat him in, but just above the crossbar. Sees Itachi then swooping in to try and get a shot of his own. Archie to save it away. Now in the midfield, Archie faced off versus Vatira, and Exotic can just whip round, picks up that 100 boost, then goes on the counter-attack of his own. Oli pre-jumping. We saw that from him so frequently yesterday.
Itachi gets it over the top of one and the second touch as well. Archie was saying earlier in his interview he didn't want to get flip reset on by Relating Wave, but he was able to block that one as well. Now it's Itachi, 10 seconds left. Karmine Corp in this first game, very strong indeed. Can they make their pressure count? One touch for Exotic could be all it takes. Falls to Itachi. Suddenly it's Oxygen looking good until that demo from Vatira will take us to overtime in game number 1.
If you're going to be removing anybody from the pitch, it's Jorias when he works his way down the opposite side. He was waiting for the ball to come down from the pass. Doesn't manage to in the end, and Vatira removing him from the pitch is the exact right thing to do. Exotic up for the double. Just about blocked out by the man we were just speaking about. Jorias saving and shooting to the best of his ability.
And that is such a good read from Jorias, and it says Oxygen on their way. He also tee up Archie. Exotic clears long, but Jorias, look how much boost he has. He can do whatever he wants with this ball. Just tempting in Itachi, then getting it over the top of him. Great play from him. Oli goes long. Oxygen just looking to camp in the blue half of the pitch right now. His touch isn't ideal. Actually, it was, because Oli wasn't coming in. And now suddenly KC can dribble away.
There's a nice fake as well. I believe it was from Oli faking to Archie and then take the shot. We've seen that happen quite a bit in North America, and these goals typically would be going into Joris whenever he shoots, but Vatira managing to save it away and attach with that possession. But yeah, going for those fakes, you see one player go up, they're then going, okay, I'm going to shoot this on the man, keep looking at me, and then a teammate will then swoop in from underneath and take the real shot. Covering them is near impossible to do as a defender, and it's just a different style that we're seeing start to emerge.
These are two teams with very good overtime records so far in this tournament. 75% won for each of them, so confidence we're going for all of these players and both of these teams. She sends that one back into the center as Vatira already has, but so is Jorias. No, they can just try and burn some time. Archie's there, sending out wide, but the clearance is not quite right. Vatira catches, he's got so much control of the ball, he does a flip reset, Exotic coming in! Oh, but not quite there. Itachi though, what a spin that is! Only's 50-50 game is strong enough, and the ball goes agonizingly over the Oxygen goal line.
We were mentioning just how stalwart the defense was for KC, but that attack, they're just continuing to pummel those shots towards the net, increasing their goals per game average, or the shots per game average rather. Chance though for Oli to pass it across to Archie. Archie does make a connection. But his speed wasn't quite there for it. Didn't know if it was going to make its way through. Vatira going for his former teammates. Signature move there. Whenever Joyo goes for a musty, you know they're feeling confident. So Vatira wants to be taking that signature, using it for his own. This time, though, not going to be winning any competitions with it, as no goal goes in as a result.
Thought must be serious performance unit for a second when you said that, but no, gosh, that really, I don't remember that bit.
Yeah, Joyo invented the musty flick. You wouldn't believe it.
That is amazing. Exotic, I thought he was going to go for one himself, but he couldn't quite get the flip reset to earn it. Here's Oli for Oxygen, an org that came into the scene at the start of RLCSX, never come better than third as an org. They might be winning this tournament. They win the first game in this grand finals.
A negative angle with such a positive result manages to just flick it back behind him. The slightest backflip throws Exotic completely off guard, and our hype chamber lights up in green and black as Oxygen. They take the first game in our inaugural grand finals here in Europe.
One of my big questions of this Oxygen roster, they sort of had it all their own way in this tournament so far, at least on the pitch as well, the way they're controlling each and every game, right? My question about them was, would they be able to win when they're maybe not playing quite as well as their opponent? And I would say, I mean, Vatira had 10 shots for goodness sake. They had 17 shots overall, did Karmine Corp, and there were 9 saves from Oxygen. That was a smash and grab from them, and I feel like it's so important they're able to win games where their backs are against the wall.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you guys were worried, my camera, I think, is fixed. I think we're okay. I'm not going to jinx it. I'm touching wood. I think we're going to be fine. But if I go blue, screenshot it. It's a bit funny, isn't it? And it's just the blue wall coming to invade, so that's fine. It's very thematic, I suppose. And we're on Aquadome. What a world.
It also goes green sometimes for Oxygen, so you are balanced.
I am, as all things should be, cool, Carl, as they should be. We were speaking earlier about how Oli managed to peak at third in spring last year. Archie, this, if he manages to win it, is going to be his first regional win since RLCSX in winter regional number 2, and his first grand final since fall regional 3 last season. It has been such a long time since any of these guys managed to take any of these accolades home. And what an important season to do so, especially considering the third regional is going to be invite only and so important for those major spots.
And that is the beauty of a new season. New teams all over the place. It's a fresh start for all of these players to really show what they're capable of. The late stage of the tournaments with each one of these players. As Joris goes for a gigantic free jump. It might still pay off if Oli can come in and keep his shot down, but he couldn't quite. This is where they all feel they deserve to be, and pre-jumps like that will be their evidence.
If Oli managed to keep his foot over the ball there, it would have just found its way down a touch more, but instead it manages to fall to the KC offense. 37 boost, the fake has to come in. Flicks over 2, the pass can't quite come out as Oli recovers that play. Archie actually leaving that one with 30 boost, but then falls to Joris in the corner, and him and Archie then managed to get the pinch away, but Itachi just lurks and waits and finds that ball. Vatira in the air. The first minute gone without incident.
Vatira is really feeling it though. 10 shots in that first game despite losing it is very silly. And even there, dribbling it past a couple of players, it didn't quite lead to a goal for Karmine Corp, but he's looking incredibly hot. However, oh my goodness, he's got that out. How did that not... I mean, my camera was on Itachi. What happened there?
I don't know. That's the one where I'm going to go to Twitter later and look at the replay that someone's got a screenshot of, and they're just going to farm impressions because of how close that was. That was absurdly close, and they managed to keep it level. KC, that defense, we mentioned it earlier, is phenomenal.
It's the blue wall. It actually is them. There are a billion fans watching this, sitting in that goal line, keeping that ball out, blowing it out, making sure it doesn't go in. Are they able to do it again? Oli's coming in. Sussex should be able to just shepherd this one away. And Vatira gets a huge demo in the center. Karmine Corp survived earlier. Now they've taken the lead.
Hardly a worm burn, and more of a worm patter on the header as it just rolls slowly down the pitch. Itachi, though, taking that shot exactly when he needed to. At a mighty 46 miles an hour, Joris, even though he spawned, was never going to be able to get back in time. That demo coming in at the perfect time absolutely surrenders their defense to whatever Itachi sends towards their net.
This time it's been Oxygen who've had more of the attack, but find themselves behind. That might change here with Oli. More amazing saves there from the blue wall. Archie to the ceiling. Joris wants it, so does Archie. That was slightly slow communication from Oxygen. They have to make sure they're not getting carried away. They are likely to score in this game the way things are going so far. They do not need to rush things. Karmine Corp, to their credit, are defending absolutely heroically. Can they still do it? Yes, they can. Joris, another miss. Archie's turn now. He wants to get the second touch to tee up a teammate, does he? He's not able to, Stumpy. We can barely slow down. The Karmine Corp are just keeping them at arm's length.
Then when you get a free shot like that from Joris, I think that just needs to be on target. He had the boost to do so as well. We've seen him literally do them earlier today. He just needs to be getting them on target if he's going to want to continue this run that they've had versus Karmine Corp. If that was a drawing goal, we'll be seeing a little bit of a different play style come up from both these teams, but instead it falls again to just this slightly clustered attack coming in for Oxygen.
Oh yeah, very clustered indeed. They're all on top of each other there. Happening one too many times so far for Oxygen and Karmine Corp. We know that if your attack is not flawless and precise, they will punish it down the other end. Itachi is as capable as anyone of doing that. Exotic has a pass if he wants it.
Oh,
he
the
tried
idea.
to force it in the end. It was a nice idea, but Vatira just too far forward in the end.
Yeah, that through ball just kind of became a lobbing the ball at your face, by the way, mate.
Big pass.
In the end, he wasn't able to header it into the net, which is a shame.
Couldn't think fast enough, could Vatira, which is rare to say. The man has got very good reflexes. What a touch from Joris. How has he got that one behind him? Again, these negative angle redirects from him are really surprising Karmine Corp over and over.
Exotic trying to find that right wing, but instead only finds Archie, which is not the man that you're going to want on the ball. Exotic rotates back round and jumps at Itachi. Oli takes that same initiative, but instead pushes it further along. Jorius with 20 boost, gets the flip reset, but no contact on the ball. Now Exotic with a dunk, with 0 boost, and Archie trying to trip him up, and with the boost steal, Archie shuts down that ingenious play from Exotic.
That is so disappointing from the former Semper man that he had no boost there. After that mammoth dunk, he wasn't able to do anything from it apart from watch the ball and his dreams just drifting away in front of him. Now he's suddenly got 50 seconds still to hold on though. Still 1 goal to the good of Karmine Corp. Shimon going to come forward. They've had all sorts of shots this game. Still no goals. This could be the one. Joris wants to place it over the top of Exotic, who had got back to defend, and Archie, he's 50-50, goes into the corner. Oli is here, Joris. Does he have the pass? Does he try and redirect it? Nothing's quite working. Karmine Corp looks so good, Stumpy, when they have a lead to hold.
Yeah, they're doing a great job of making sure that, sure, these shots are coming on. They're quite happy to absorb as many shots as they possibly can. However, they are making a terrible challenge of it for Oxygen to be getting one just to level it back up. Bear in mind that they get 5-6 goals per game against them, and they're then shooting down the opposite side. They allow a lot, but my gosh, they score a lot as well.
I mean, there was a side from Jorius. I think that was just the problem. I think maybe without that, maybe he was just too far in the centre and gave up on the play. I'm not sure. It could have been that Oxygen were overcommitting, needing a goal. You can't really blame them, but it doesn't matter too much right now. All that does matter is that score at the top of your screen. 2-0 to Karmine Corp, and they will be taking game number 2. 3-0 now. Looking even better for KC.
Before that goal, there was only Itachi had any shots on net, and there were 3 for him, and he scored 2 of them. And now Exotic is 1 for 1 for goals and shots. Vatira has got 0 shots so far. They've shot incredibly rarely, but they've managed to have 10 saves on their net. They've allowed around 14 goals, 14 shots as well against them. Yeah, 14, wow. 14 shots against them too. It has been a really strong showing from Oxygen offensively, but Karmine's defense has just been there at every single step.
I think Karmine did so well in making that game the way they wanted it to look. They want it to be a more structured form of Rocket League. Oxygen trying to chuck the house at the Karmine Corp goal. As long as they can weather that storm in each and every game, then Karmine Corp should be okay. And they did exactly that right there. As you mentioned, Stumpy, they needed, 11 saves along the way. So I'm not sure how sustainable that will be going into the next game. But in that one, on Aquadome, everything worked out perfectly for the KC plan.
Yeah, absolutely. Now that's 1-1 in this series, and we're seeing not
it was Jorius.
timeout. Oh, wait. Oh,
You
no,
were-
I missed it. I
you
was
were
looking
looking-
elsewhere.
I think it was Jorius coming out of the goal. And because I looked in the opposite corner just at the last second as well. Sorry, everyone. We were looking in the worst place when that replay came in. We're the bad
I'm
guys.
still going to look at Twitter. That's all. I'm still doing it. I still have to. Anybody gets that screenshot, farm away. You've got everyone's permission. We want to see how close that was to going in. But there were still 2 goals scored regardless. And as I think is fair, no timeout has been called. Both these teams at 1 apiece. We might see it in 1 or 2 games' time, depending on how it ends up going. However, no timeout called this time.
Game number 3. Now, if Oxygen can get an early lead here, suddenly KC's game plan from that last game completely falls apart, and they will have to be the ones chasing. One of the best teams in Europe at having the lead, Karmine Corp. How good are they when they have Oxygen coming at them, trying to double their lead against them? And they have to come out of their own half themselves more often than not. Tier of the catch there. It could be an early lead for Oxygen that we were talking about, but Jory, as the ball just sails over the top of him. He's got a couple of touches. Itachi, a flawless read. Yet again, he breaks up everything that Oxygen offer against him.
I mean, it's been 25 seconds and there's already passing play starting to emerge, with Vatira being caught a little bit off guard alongside Exotic. It continues to be aggression from Oxygen that's doing bits against the back line of KC. Itachi trying to swipe across this time. The 100 Buso stolen by Jorias, taking away that insurance push that KC were probably relying on with another flip reset. This man's getting them wherever he can. And something that I've enjoyed seeing on social media is Jack. Apparently Jack, you know, the fellow who moved to North America. Remember him?
I remember.
Yeah, the traitor. He ended up, he's been tweeting this entire day, being like, Jorias, my word, man. You got 1.8 earlier on in your series. It has been ridiculous. And despite that, I wonder if Jack is going to be tweeting out against the team that has beaten him a lot when he was over here in Europe, in Karmine Corp, and also, namely, the Tira.
Yeah, I mean, it was Jorias that was pretty slow there. The ball was directly above him, and he felt like he could get it and beat Karmine Corp to the ball. It was pretty much never happening. So a slight breakdown in communication and rotations from Oxygen right there. And Karmine Corp suddenly have exactly what they want. They have that lead. They have something to defend and hold on to. It might be too exotic. Clean strike on the ball. Best he's ever come is top 8. He wants this win so badly.
It's a clean stroke on the ball, but Archie just completely whiffs that touch. And Itachi, sure, going for the shot. He has to block both, but it's an outplay by Itachi. It's a miss by Archie. It's a little bit of both, if I'm being completely honest, from what I could see. And in the end, it falls to that goal. Exotic just hitting it as hard as he can. Scores it under the crossbar. Brilliant play and great rotations round. A chance for Itachi to shoot against the net. Exotic this time gets the shot credited, but Archie in the perfect spot.
I mean, Archie was in the perfect spot, but that's still a weak shot right there from Exotic. I think he assumed there'd be somebody challenging it, so went up for the ball a little bit early, lost all ability to really get some power and pace and precision on the ball by going up so early. And do you know what he does, Stumpy? He makes up for it from the ceiling.
Just smashes it, sees that the Brock's coming in, goes up for the dunk on the ball, and then bangs it down. Manages to get the bounce. If that goes too high, Archie saves. If it goes too low, then you see Oli come in and be able to save it as well. Instead, he threads the needle, allows the bounce, and it goes lovely. That placement, it didn't look great, but it was wonderful.
Keep an eye out next time Exotic misses a bit of a sitter, because his ratio of missing a sitter then scoring a banger is currently 100%. So just something to watch out for, everybody. 3-0 to Karmine Corp. Oxygen, what you got? You got a demo now. Jory is almost over the top. Exotic, not just getting the block when the edgeable was on, but then getting the second touch. Brilliance from him. He stepped up, but finally he's been breached. Oli scores, and Oxygen are back in this game.
I think Oli got bumped here by Archie too. That back pass was instrumental to the play happening. Then it was the 1-2, and then Archie smashes into the back of Oli, pull shots him in, and manages to get that goal, cutting that deficit down to just 2 now. Already goals flying in 4 within 2 minutes on every 30 seconds. But Karmine Corp have been the main beneficiaries of that aggression.
Or a snooker shot, as I like to call it.
I've never heard of that sport.
Archie's on the backboard. Itachi's coming in. Will Casey slow down a little bit now and try and hold what they've got? Not if Exotic's got anything to do about it. He is just beaming in. He is so creative and so good in attack, and it's 4-1 for Casey.
Another dunk, another aggression, another banger from Exotic. Sends it past that back line in its entirety. And you see the players just stop. Like, we couldn't have defended that any better. It was only tapping out a touch too far and leaving that goal sign completely open. No car was in the way. Great pushing by Exotic, but only now with a chance after demoing the keeper. Archie, in fairness, had to get the touch on it. Otherwise, that clear comes out a lot nicer.
Oh, man, that's so close as well at that near post.
The demo was great.
Demo was so good. It could be another chance. Jory is going for another redirect. He's being closed down now. Then a demo flying in. This is the fastest we've seen KC play. They are now rising up, playing Oxygen at their own game. And frankly, Stumpy, they're doing it better than they are.
Oxygen, I hope they're not going to take that. I hope they want to just be pushing harder against them. Say, well, you think that's speedy? Then you know nothing. You have a nothing on us. We're going to go supersonic, and Itachi in the sky rises like a rocket, and he comes down like a missile, but instead is saved away by Jory as a shot just below the crossbar. Archie saves it away into the corner.
Karmine Corp having all sorts of shots though on the Oxygen goal. Oxygen need to get this ball out of there as soon as possible. He was a little bit slow there yet again. Itachi using all the momentum to win that cleanly with Exotic underneath it. Jory is, you feel like for Oxygen, they have to get a wonder goal. They have to get something solo to wake them up, because even these regular passing plays, the nice rotations, the speedy shots, they're not working for them.
Something different potentially on the menu, potentially fixed as well by having one of those fabled timeouts. Seeing how effective they can be. I think in Europe yesterday, D-Rex is going to tell me if I get this wrong, but it was something like
Go on.
80% in Europe, like the success, because it's so early on in the season. Archie in the
79.
midfield, isn't quite. Nightmare. Archie isn't quite able to get a decent touch on that one, but continuing that push from Oxygen, and the bumps coming in now too. Both of them missing, unfortunately, but we're seeing the ideas find their way into the brains of Oxygen, unable to get anything from it just yet until Oli in the midfield is able to get something further. And I've just seen the directors typing 85.71% overtime wins or timeout wins. Yes, I'm a genius.
You're a genius. Oxygen need a little bit of genius of their own. It's just, I mean, even the game they won in game number 1, KC were all over them, if I recall correctly. So each game on the balance of things could have gone to KC so far. So 100% after this. Even if, in my opinion, they have some miraculous comeback, which is looking very unlikely with the ball being barely kept on their own goal and hitting both posts and being blocked on the goal line, I'd say that Oxygen are in desperate need of one of those magical timeouts right now. Well, in 15 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, calling it now would be big. But, yeah, something needs to change. Maybe it just comes down to, the boys having a little bit more of a chat, being able to break down the game more. Because bear in mind, versus Quadrant, they were able to do pretty much everything that they wanted to take from the series. They were able to push as hard as they wanted, or they were able to be as defensive as they wanted at whichever point and whichever playstyle they fancied going for. Instead, KC are clearly demanding the respect they deserve on this pitch. And Karmine win yet another one. It is 2-1, and Oxygen are taking that timeout.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense at this point. It's looking like Karmine are going to go off and win this tournament fairly comfortably right now, the way they're playing. And
I think that's the thing, like, taking it when you're only 1 down, I think in any other situation, might look a little bit silly. And it might be a bit like, guys, what are you doing? You're only 1 down. What's happening? But actually, when you look at how well Karmine are just dealing with it, I don't see Oxygen coming back into this series unless they call this timeout and just shut that down at the source. And that's exactly what Billy is going to be attempting to do now.
And you can see why Itachi for Karmine Corp is the player that sort of his brilliance gets swept under the rug somewhat, because this series has been a great example of it. We had Vatira. He was the first to step up, and he was getting it past Oxygen. He was hitting his touches. The mechanics were working for him. He doesn't even slow down, but Exotic catches him up. The man who has the least experience at the top level, top level, should I say, out of anyone on this pitch. He looked like the best player on that pitch. In that game, it wasn't just dunks, it wasn't just challenges, it was beautiful mechanical plays. And what I liked as well from Exotic is, I think it was the first goal he got, it was after a poor finish. So instead of getting down on himself and thinking, oh no, I've messed it up, he comes back and he gets a brilliant finish from the ceiling. And that's a champion's mentality. Karmine Corp are an org that demand champions, and we're seeing from the players right now that they can stand up to that.
Oxygen's vibe has to be, we can win this. Obviously, we can win this. We went through G1, who did an incredible job previously when they were going through the Swiss. We 3-0'd the Swiss. We have not lost coming up to this point. We beat G1. We then beat Quadrant 4-0. A team that beat BDS yesterday. Obviously, we can beat Karmine Corp. But Karmine Corp's journey, my gosh, it has been phenomenal. They took down Moist, a team obviously where we saw Vatira on last season, where they won a major together. And yet, this change for Vatira, despite the questions, has been something that is extraordinary. It has been inspirational for players where they think, oh, maybe is top 8 really my peak at Worlds? Vatira absolutely does not think so.
No. Yeah, I mean, Vatira is on a one-man mission to avenge that top 8 at Worlds. I feel like all the other quarterfinalists, they'll be disappointed, of course, but they'll be thinking, of Worlds this is. They'd have been thinking like, oh, what a great performance, when they dust themselves down and they get over that disappointment. Vatira, and indeed Rise and Joyo as well, nothing of the sort. They would still be so hurt about what happened against Furia at that World Championships. And that is why when Vatira makes this decision to move over to Karmine Corp, everyone talks about the fact that it's, a massive French org and he's French and it sort of makes sense in that regard. But he would not have done it if he didn't think that he, Exotic, and Itachi could win a World Championship. That'll be all he's thinking about. We're seeing from Karmine Corp so far, they're capable of doing that. But Oli's 50-50 game, Stumpy, tell me about it.
Oli, you are filth incarnate. You get that free flip, you then get the flip reset, you then go to the floor, and then you pinch it alongside Itachi. Yes, please. That is a cracking start. 13 seconds of coming from the timeout Oxygen called, and they get a goal. That's exactly what the doctor ordered, and that is music to their ears, I am sure. Billy, you've done a good one.
I mean, that's the magic of a tactical timeout. If anybody watching this is ever struggling in ranked, walk away for 2 minutes, come back, you'll be better. I guarantee it.
And get Coach Billy to talk you through while you're back.
And absolutely get Coach Billy to talk you through. Great save there from Archie. Trapped on their own goal line for a second, are Oxygen, but they have managed to get it away well, but it only falls to Vatira, whose turn is it now to step up for Karmine Corp. It was almost a touchy, but that's a great touchdown from Oxygen. And suddenly Karmine Corp are being sent back, having to drive back to their own goal. There's a chance for Oxygen.
Open.
That's a powerful, man. Chat for a minute, you turn into a superhuman.
It was that corner bounce where Vatira just had to react nicely, and under the pressure of Jorius, he had to make something ugly from it. Archie following up in the shadow of Jorius. It's quite a big one, it's a tall lad, and he manages to squeak it in the opposite side. It was great pressure from Oxygen, and again, Cole, you were saying that KC were using their speed against them, and they were going even faster than Oxygen were. I think now we're really seeing that rise, where Oxygen are wanting to be the first to every single ball, to every single player, to make sure that they haven't got a single moment of peace.
Well, based on the evidence there, they also want to beat their teammates to the ball, which isn't quite as highly recommended.
Healthy competition.
That's what we'll call it. That's what Billy's saying right now. Itachi with a save, still shots coming in from Oxygen. Vatira's trapped in his corner. He does well to get away with the ball and force a 50-50 at the very least. But look how boost-starved he is. Can't do anything with it. Meanwhile, Oli's coming down. He's got plenty in the tank to play with. He's still going for bumps and demos on his way out. Hasty get it away, but now it's so different. Every clearance is going to an Oxygen player. They have full boost control. Maybe that demo's going to change it.
Oli just respawning, suddenly has a ball to defend, and Vatira, he's got a ball to block. Going from that demo and immediately seeing Vatira barrel down on you is a little bit hellish. Oli, what else is he going to do? Vatira, my word, from the skies, he's the surprise.
I mean, Oli had only just spawned as well, so he got demoed, spawned back, saw the ball coming towards him, and thought, oh, what a lucky spawn. What a convenient moment that was. Luck's really on. Oh, Vatira just dunked me and he's going to score.
I wouldn't be surprised if Vatira was eclipsed by the ball as well. But Jorius, he wants to eclipse anything that we're seeing coming out of KC right now. A couple of great shots, but that defense yet again holding incredibly firm for KC.
Massive, massive saves. Just desperately knocking it to the side from the goal line. Oxygen desperately close to restoring their 2-goal lead. Archie from the wall, he jumps off, he gets his flip reset, wants to go over the top of Itachi, but it is the Moroccan that closes him down again. Warriors can't do anything there, so Karmine Corp having to do defending, they're doing it very well. It's Oxygen now that have to be careful, in my opinion, Stumpy, because they can so easily overcommit and give away this second goal, especially with double commits.
Yeah, double commits aren't ever going to be the solution, especially when KC are so as well put together as they currently are. That ball flicking over the top of Vatira, moving Jorius from the pitch. Archie can't be out exotic that time, and so Vatira is in the sky completely solo. But with that mess up on the ceiling, his reset was gained, but his position absolutely wasn't, as he just goes flying into that back corner.
Every time Vatira gets a dribble, he just gets it past at least one player while keeping the ball, sometimes two. He is looking terrifying right now for Karmine Corp. And Oxygen have to close him down as fast as possible. Do not let him get control of the ball on his car. At some point, he's going to do it, and it's going to lead to a goal for Karmine.
I mean, Vatira looks so authoritative. Whenever he has control of the ball, it's going wherever he wants it to. If there's someone in his way, he'll pop it high and then demo below. It's something that you don't get from many players, where they absolutely command respect on every touch that they make. And a great send down pitch by Exotic there to try and make up a little bit of ground. Final 90 seconds is going to be seeing... It's going to be opened rather by a push from Oxygen. That commit coming in, Vatira isn't able to get it too much further than just Exotic on his own back line. It's deadly, and it's time for KC to push, otherwise this game falls away from them, and then we go to 2-all. Oxygen would be very happy about that, especially as they continue to conform from those timeout stats.
Vatira does have a chance to hit the ball cleanly now. Can he get over the top of Jory as he can? Archie's coming in to have another go. Gets it there for Oxygen. Nervous times for OXG. Archie wants to get this quick reset on the bump. Maybe it's past the Oli could maybe give them the breath they need, and he does it, and it all comes from Archie.
As a sigh of relief as the insurance pays out. Itachi is bumped out of the way from the air dribble off Archie, and Oli's got a completely free net. Takes it so safely that it bounces a little bit before it finds its way into 2-goal difference now. Oxygen are taking a bit more control of this game.
I'll tell you what, the one thing I've noticed, that every time Vatira gets the ball, players are cutting rotation in order to charge him down because of what we were saying earlier, how hot his dribbling was. That does mean that Oxygen aren't going to be able to just rotate this one away. They have to keep attacking the ball, so it's going to be difficult for Oxygen. 45 seconds is going to seem like a very long time to get back into this series, especially if the goal flies in now, but Jorius has won it, teased Vatira in, spat him out, and made it 4-1 Oxygen.
Just perfect positioning from Jorius there. As double commit comes in, Oli thankfully doesn't make a touch as far as Jorius is concerned, because then it falls to him to just send it from his own half. KC has to send everything, otherwise they were going to lose it 3-1 regardless. It literally does not matter if you lose 3-1 or 4-1. You may as well try to make it 3-2 or 3-all at the minimum. So Oxygen looking very much like the people that are going to be walking away from this game a little bit happier, and that timeout from Billy has done brilliant work.
I mean, this is the first game in this series where Oxygen have looked like the Oxygen they have been in the rest of this tournament. They've been in control. Their touches have been finding each other, and it's not necessarily large swathes of control of the ball, like actually having it in possession. It's more the fact that when they try something, it tends to work. You know, they're racing their opponents to the ball and beating them, and they are just constantly living on the edge of scoring something scary. That was an Oxygen-style game. The room's been oxygenated as we now go to 2-2 in this best of 7.
Even as I think we would have expected it to be honest. Like, we thought this was going to be a very close series, whatever it was in the end. And with Karmine Corp and Oxygen going 2 apiece, it makes sense in my little monkey brain. I was very impressed with how Oxygen managed to turn it around and tackle that game compared to the rest of the series. And the fact that, you know, they managed to score out 10 goals is 10 shots. Oh my gosh, I keep missaying. They managed to get themselves 10 shots with that 40% shooting. It's above average. They've got to be happy about it, and it's something that they can be taking forward into the upcoming games too. Karmine Corp, I think it shined a little bit at the end of that game that their speed is still there, and their speed should absolutely be utilized. They were just shut down a bit more in that game when Oxygen managed to wrangle some of that pressure back. But Karmine Corp, if they can take it back, be even faster, chuck their faces at more of these balls that come their way, then I can see the favors and the tides turning.
Karmine Corp will be very happy that that last game was over. From the off, it was Oxygen's. I mean, we had that early lead that was given to them by Oli with the dunk from the ceiling as well. So everything went Oxygen's way in that last one. I think at this point, there'll be no alarm bells ringing for Karmine Corp because in general, so much of this final has gone their way. If they lose this one in a similar way, then perhaps we'll see their timeout.
Yeah.
That's one for the future. That's one for the next few minutes. But now, we've got 5 minutes ahead of us on Wasteland.
It's also something to consider is that Oxygen they've not burned their timeout. They've used it absolutely perfectly, but they have now used that timeout. They don't have any more, you know, extra minutes they're able to take. They might in fact be praying on Karmine Corp to take one a little bit later on, because if things start to go their way, they want to make sure that they can reiterate what it is that they have to do to regain that control that they found in game number 4.
Oli's up. He's found the ceiling, and he's also found Vatira. Archie and Exotic, all sorts of players charging down that ball, but the 50-50 game is won by Karmine Corp.
Good idea.
Oh, that was so near to what would have been a glorious pinch. Karmine Corp are almost able to keep their attack going, but sadly for them, it comes to nothing.
Pinches really have been the meta in this regional, right? Like, in the Fall Open over in North America as well, we saw a couple of pinches and deliberate team plays for it too. I remember theorizing years and years ago, like back in 2016, whatever it was, teams will eventually be able to like pinch it off each other instead of just the wall, and it will be incredible. And I'm excited now that we're finally seeing that really start to be more prevalent at this level, because I remember there being that theory of, you know, you want to be staying in a bit of a Venn diagram with your teammates and passing it across from your respective circles. Oli getting the goal from the pass of Archie. I'll talk about pinches in a minute because that was just a classic passing play.
It was a classic passing play. You're talking about 2016 as well. That one would have lit up the halls of 2016's top plays. It was a classic infield pass with a classic finish, and it's 1-0 Oxygen once again. Things continue to go right for them. Vatira has the ball in front of his own goal. Supremely in control, of course. Somehow gets it into the Oxygen corner when he was being challenged by 3 players. Gets an assist from it. How has Vatira done so much from so little there?
Vatira makes a mountain out of a molehill, and on top stands King Itachi. That shot from that pass, the pass is everything. Itachi just had to tap it in right at the end. Wonderful play. Vatira is as skillful as any footballer you'll see on the pitch.
Just wild to me that, you know, if I'm in that position, I'm thinking get rid of the ball, panic, oh my goodness, what's happening? Somebody help me, I run out of boost. You know, the million thoughts and combinations going through your mind. Vatira was thinking, how can I turn this into an attacking play? Boggles my brain, Stumpy Goblin. Now they're carrying on again. They could be about to double their lead. That's a lovely clearance and transition there from Oxygen. Tira's going to catch it. Who knows what's going to happen in a minute? Exotic, look at him. He's circling. He's desperate for that ball, and he thinks that his French teammate's going to get it to him.
I like Exotic moving immediately to the center, and he's thinking, I'm here. I am here to score this if
Somehow
need be.
you'll find it.
Yes, but instead that time he wasn't quite able to. Itachi up for that double.
Oh.
It's wonderful, but Archie is wonderfuler as now it falls out to Joris on that right wing with only 30 boosts. He has to go for the double. Nearly gets it with Vatira pouncing on that backboard. He clears it away halfway in this game, and we are still dead level 1-all.
I feel like we're now at the point in this series where both teams are completely warm. The mechanics are in full flow.
Yeah.
Everything is working. If there's going to be any goals for the next couple of games, it's not going to be due to mistakes. It's going to be due to individual or even team brilliance. Archie's capable of his own. He just bangs that one into the top corner. Exotic puts it out wide, but it's Auction that currently have the higher ground. Only around the back, he's missed it, so Vatira can come forward. Now it's KC's turn. Vatira to the ceiling, should be able to beat Jorius here. Doesn't, but it falls to Exotic, who gets it back to his teammate, who is absolutely boiling hot right now. Where's this one landing? I just feel like any second, Stumpy, we're going to see something spectacular.
And Vatira's on the ceiling doing a helicopter, so potentially it's going to come from him, but instead of flying sky high, he falls back to the ground, and Archie lets that ball go towards Exotic, gets the redirect! Magic is made on Wasteland!
Magic is made on Wasteland, and it's been brewing for the last couple of minutes. Something was going to happen. In the end, it was Archie with a pinch-perfect redirect into that top corner. Oxygen take the lead. They might take the lead in this series as well at this rate.
Wonderful play. I love him just lurking for a minute, like, okay, if this ball comes perfectly to me, I will be able to get that redirect. The defense, I think, thought it was a possibility it was going to come in because they had it semi-covered, but just not quite enough. A demo coming in as well, but Vatira managing to stay in the way for the double save with such little boost too. He made wonderful progress with that ball. Nearly gets the dunk on Archie from that backboard, but the three-man passing plays out of defense for Oxygen. They are keeping KC shut down.
I've got 1 minute and 12 seconds left of KC. They have to get a goal. Where does it begin? Is it with Vatira? It has been so many times this series. Not that time. Attaching towards Vatira, but it's closed down at source. Good play from Oxygen, good defending. How is your defending? Are you able to keep this ball out and not even think about scoring? Vatira, again, that dribble's not going to work. Itachi has to do some saving. That was a slightly loose one from Vatira, and credit to Oxygen, they were straight on it. But now he has a chance again. Vatira into the corner. It's Exotic's turn. He shoots quickly. It's just past. Itachi into the center. Exotic is there. But Jorius closes it down.
Inspirational speed from Jorius too. Manages to get the almighty touch away from that back six. Vatira up in the sky. Can he get that flip reset over the top? No, instead he goes for the bumper. Archie wasting the floor for the sheer insurance. Jorius from the backboard is able to get to that ball first as well. Final 20 seconds counting down with Vatira. They have to get a play soon. And is there going to be more magic here?
Oxygen's hands will be so sweaty right now. They cannot take their eyes off this for a split second the way KC are playing. Exotic's touch is closed down by Oli. Itachi wants to launch a volley forward, but he's just charged down by Jorius. Archie steams in, a huge win for him. Oli could finish it. It's going to go in. It's going to be 3-1 Oxygen, and it's going to be 3-2 Oxygen in games.
The blue wall looking like it might need a Mason because there's nobody who is able to shut down this Oxygen team at the moment. It's 3-2. The comeback from Oxygen's turn around considering the game they had for game number 3, I believe it was, when they lost that one 4 or 5-1. It has been a different team that are playing. And Karmine Corp calling that Mason in with that timeout coming.
I'm not surprised at all. I mean, there's not too much that I can think that Karmine would want to change based on what I'm seeing. All I can really think is that that wasn't a Karmine style game. That was a slogathon. That was a who's got the best mechanics over the span of 5 minutes. It ended up being Oxygen on that occasion. Could have gone Karmine's way, but I think Stumpy going forwards, they want to control the narrative just that little bit more.
I hope that also, depending on what happens in this series, Vatira gets enough money to buy a lamp for his room. I think he really deserves that. You know, he wants to be bathed in light. Maybe now is not the time. He has to save on his energy bills, but Karmine Corp, they need to get a lot more going because that was the complete Oxygen control in it. Don't get me wrong, Karmine, they had a few chances. They had 5 shots in the end, but that's just one more than Archie had on his own. That has been a real standout game for Archie, for me personally, where he was contributing in every aspect of the game so influentially.
Maybe Vatira and Jorius can go halves on a lamp and sort of share it and have it sort of one regional each, maybe. That'd be really quite nice. But they can worry about that in a little while longer. For now, they have to worry about this upcoming Game 6. We are loading into Neo Tokyo, where perhaps Oxygen will win their org's first ever regional championship in the RLCS. They joined at the start of RLCS X. I believe that was with Astral. I believe they were the hot team. I think it was Chaussette as well. All those years ago now. It's been a long time since those days. Yeah, I'm calling my memory here. It might be looking silly. But the point I'm trying to make is that these are guys who have been in this scene for a very long time, and perhaps they're about to finally have their achievement.
They took a little holiday over to North America.
They did.
You know, they were over there for a little bit during 2021. And then, yeah, brought it back, towards the end of this year, the start of this season, picking up another European team. And it is something that you don't necessarily see happening too often, where an org goes from, okay, we're in Europe, okay, fence North America now. Okay, yeah, now we're back in Europe again. You don't see those changes happen too much. Dignitas, for example, they have done the opposite. They've gone from North America, then did an unbelievable European run, as we all know, and then went back to North America again for this season. So lots of change-ups. But what is eternal is Bob and his ramen. He will never finish that bowl, but will Oxygen be able to finish this series?
We'll never even finish that mouthful, just continually trying to get it down. And good luck to you, Bob. And good luck to these 6 players. Which one steps up now? Karmine Corp just about slowed down a little bit, but there was a period in that last game where all of these players were just tremendously quick. That is a mistake. Maybe the energy level's starting to drop. There's a miss as well. Somehow it's not gone in. It's hit the crossbar. First a mistake from Vatira, but Oxygen couldn't make the most of it.
But Vatira had to instantly land and then flip out the way. Otherwise, he was taking that shot. He was just putting that in. Archie, I don't know how he didn't get it, though. Maybe just a slight bump, a little touch. Maybe thought that Vatira was going to get it, so he tried to dunk him. Whatever happened, this game is still 0-0, despite that chance.
I've got a theory that Neo Tokyo is always, in a best of 7, is always the messiest game. It's where the energy levels start to drop. You know, you're on 6, you get through this one, then for 7, everyone rallies and they're playing well again. This is where we start to see a few mistakes creeping in. The energy has dropped. You know, it's intense. The amount of concentration these players have to do and the decisions they have to make over the course of a, hour-long series or so. But yeah, that's just my little theory.
I think your little theory is wonderful, mate, to be honest. And that shot was a little bit far from it. Somehow the saves coming in and the shots coming in from 4 different players on that. The pressure from Oxygen isn't yet finding back net of Karmine Corp. On the right wing, Archie's going to push forward with 53 boost. It falls to Oli, who just picked up that mid and said this push can be speedy, but instead outsped by Itachi on that play. Archie heading towards the net, just asking a question of Astral. And I like those plays by players when they send it towards the net, just to remind them you cannot leave this open at any moment, by the way.
Archie's on the backboard. I wondered if he was going to get some sort of Doomsday dish right there. For a second, it looked on. Not quite to be. The ball just wasn't quite there. The angle's not quite right. In case he now have a little bit of control.
Only pre-jump.
Yeah,
that's what he was doing earlier on in the series, what he was doing back in the Swiss. That is how you know that he is playing confidently, because his read of the game, to me, just seems second to none. Whenever he's going for those pre-jumps, it's because he's confident he's going to get the ball.
Itachi's going to win this race. Actually, no one's going to challenge him at all. It's going to be Joris. He's waiting for him to hit it. Quite a few examples of that so far as that team pinch comes in. You were mentioning it, mate. It's the meta. It's the new future. We're going to see one of those sail into the top corner at some point.
I don't know why now. I don't know now why it's suddenly becoming a bit of a meta, but I like it. I'm here for a good pinch. And going to the top corner, Archie's able to save that one away. Vatira, the pretty decent shot halfway through this game. Still 0-0. Oli bouncing it off that corner with Vatira to send it long, and Jorius who shuts down in the midfield, but Archie is up and will be taking over that defense.
It's definitely a more defensive game than the last one. There's a lot of clean shots and clean saves from having one, maybe even 2 players on the goal line trying to keep it out. Who's going to be the first to break through that? KC have to make something happen. Oxygen at least have a couple of chances if they lose this game.
He's on his own.
About to put in the lead. He was completely stranded and he scored it.
In the sky, flying solo, Archibald. There's a bump coming in, I think, from Oli on Exotic. Vatira had to cover up somewhere. But that team play, just seeing that Archie is able to go for a double, then Oli immediately committing to go for the bumps, it's exactly what Archie needed. Otherwise, that was definitely being defended.
Oh, Exotic, maybe a pinch, lining itself up. KC needs to score. They have to get back into this game in order to stay in the series, in the grand final, in the tournament. Actually, he's close down. That one could be going all the way in. I think it is. It's 2-0 from nothing.
On our first Neo Tokyo of the day, we are seeing these plays that come out from Archie, the double goal. And just, as he said, just seeing it land right next to Vatira, you think maybe he can get to it. Maybe he's able to get a flick over. Instead, he fakes away from that ball, isn't able to get any touch. And what a play from Archie just to identify it's open. We said earlier, they just kept punching that net, kept saying, you cannot leave this open, we're going to be scoring. And yet, despite those warnings, they were not heeded.
Joreuz, whom with Archie spent so long looking for their third player. Eventually, they discovered that Oli was staring them in the face that whole time. Joreuz's fellow Dutchman. We had Holland versus Spain at the start of this one. The Dutch are taking over the scene, it would seem, at least in EU, if they can keep this one going. Archie's up, the Englishman, the lone one left. He clears it as long as he possibly can. Itachi's there in the corner. It was his mistake that led to Oxygen's first goal. Normally so dependable. Karmine Corp looking like a busted flush. Perhaps not. Not if this sinks in. Exotic shoots! Archie gets the save again! Exotic still keep... Oxygen still keep themselves with a clean sheet.
Archie, the man of the minute, the double tap over Vitera, wanted to go for that triple in the end, but saved away again by Archie. He has been phenomenal. The legwork he has given forward for Oxygen against KC is otherworldly. And a bump from him secures the third, and Joreuz gets on the score sheet.
Look at this, Archie's just bouncing around, causing havoc everywhere he goes. Get out the goal, Itachi! No chance even for a mistake this time. Archie's not having it. Joreuz has given Oxygen the 3-0 lead. Surely these last 40 seconds are their victory lap. It could be another Joreuz towards Archie. Archie's just waiting, swallowing up so much time, Stumpy.
Slowing the ball down, and it just starts to set in, I think, for Oxygen as an org, for the players. The last time we saw Joreuz here was back in Winter Regional 1 last season. That's the last time he was even in a grand final, let alone winning. Archie, it has been since Fall Regional 3 last year. And Oli, he has never tasted the victory of a regional championship. And yet, alongside Oxygen, he will be doing it. Joreuz, Oli, and Archie are your inaugural European champions.
As soon as this ball doesn't even touch the floor, it goes in. A finish with a flourish for Oxygen. Wow, what a start for them. What a beginning for this team. Finally, we see one of these regionals, Stumpy, not be won by BDS or Moist. And it's Oxygen Esports that managed to see it away. What a team this is. We debated Spain versus the Netherlands at the start. The Netherlands have just taken a massive step forward under the Oxygen Esports banner.
And I will say, 2 Englishmen on the side as well, in Archie and Billy. I'm counting the coach for this one to make us 2 all. Yeah, don't worry about it. Amazing performance. There's nothing that Oxygen could have done better after taking that tactical timeout. They were the worst team at the start of this series when KC managed to control that game and control the narrative in its absolute entirety. Finally, Oxygen take that timeout. They turn it around, and the beautiful words from Billy, the coach, managed to bring them through. And we were also talking about Joreuz and how Dignitas was that the team that, realistically could have won a major. Back when it was Jack, Joreuz, and Scrub, we then thought, okay, you know what, we just need to see him try more. We need to see him grind this game more. And him alongside Archie, they have been putting in so many hours. And I want them to look back on this moment. And if you're ever watching this VOD, Archie or Joreuz, and you're thinking, oh, I'm not very motivated, or I'm thinking, I don't really want to grind this game, because you have been there. You said it yourselves. You have been there in those moments where you don't want to grind. Look at this now. Remember this feeling of being on top of Europe and a potential world's contender, and be that player again. Grind your heart out and show us this time and time again through Europe. And we want to be seeing that in Rotterdam at the major, should you make it.
Not many players have done it. Not many teams have done it. 1 regionals, 1 RLCS tournaments. You can now add Oxygen to the list. And to dissect everything that we have just witnessed, it's back to the desk.
Thank you. What a finish to that. I mean, it seems like this side of the desk was a lot more right than the other side of the desk.
It's crazy how that works.
Shogun,
crazy how that works.
Talk to me about this match here and how you thought it was going to go compared to how it did.
Well, listen, okay, I got more right than the rest of Europe today, and that's quite frankly something that I will take for myself. Congratulations, I think, firstly, for Oxygen. I thought that they were against a team that had maybe gone through the worst that they were going to go through today. Clearly, that was not the case. Oxygen were going to be the nightmare for everybody that they were going to take on. It was a scrappy series at times, and I think Karmine Corp will wonder, where on earth their clinicalness and sort of poise that we had from them against Moist went, because they looked so in sync during that series. And this one, Oxygen just started to pull at the threads and eventually the Karmine Corp not look like that team that we saw earlier on today. So congratulations to them. Victory for Archie, Jorius, and Oli.
They're not.
Yeah, I feel it.
They're nuts. I was just gonna say that they're nuts. I don't think anyone ever questioned the talent this roster's got. But as correctly pointed out by the caster at the end of the series, we want more of this. We all want to see more of this from Oxygen, from Jorius, Archie, and Oli. We want to see them keep working at it, and it is really about the motivation for this team. That's where their success is gonna come from.
Yeah, it's not time to just pull off from the gas. This is where you step down even harder for Oxygen. I think this was a really good series and kind of what I expected from them, because I do think that once they get that offensive foot in front, other teams just crumble. You saw KC really struggled to get back onto offense, and granted it did go back and forth, but really after that timeout, as the casters were mentioning, it really felt like Oxygen started to take away every opportunity that K-Corp had, and you could really start to see the mechanics come out, but you could really start to see the confidence come out. That's what everyone's kind of reiterating here on the desk, is we want to see this Oxygen team prove it, not once as they have now, but time and time again coming up in these future regionals, because we all know the skills there to do it.
Well, to talk about the victory, I believe we have Billy, the coach from Oxygen, join us right now. Billy, congrats to the team.
Thank you.
I want to talk about specifically. It's been mentioned a couple times now by the casters, and just again by Crowley, the timeout, because that seemed to be the shift for you guys in this match. It looked like there's a bit of a foothold grabbed for KC. Timeout, boom, you win.
Yeah.
Boom, boom, boom. What changed?
Well, we kind of had an idea what to expect going into this, because we played them earlier in the closed qualifier. But it wasn't really exactly how we planned, so we kind of figured them out as we went on in the series. And then by game 2, we had a good idea what to do. And as you saw, it worked really well.
So we've heard from Archie multiple times here on the desk. My question to you is, as the coach, when you're presented with the pieces that you have for this team, what do you envision is the winning formula for Oxygen as you've proven now? What is that from the coach's perspective here for Oxygen?
I mean, it's our offense, really. I mean, our offense is undefendable, really. Like, if we're playing our best, no one can stop us on offense. So we're just going to work on our own things. But for now, just our offense. If we can keep that up, we're going to be unstoppable.
So you come out of this tournament with 16 points. You're now in prime position and pretty much as good as locked in, with 2 tournaments remaining to go over to Rotterdam outside of everything going completely wrong, which we won't even think about. What does the next few tournaments look like for you? How do you sort of keep everybody motivated, and what does the next week look like to get everyone, all right, we're still here, we're still working?
I mean, winning the first event is a massive weight off everyone's shoulders on the team. So going into these next few events, we're going to just feel so good. I'm looking forward to it, really. I'm ready. I'm ready for the next one.
Archie's talked a lot about how he struggled with motivation on his past teams, and Jorius is a player who's known for struggling with that as well. What are you guys going to do now to stay motivated? Because I know that you've got that win. Sometimes we've seen teams get that first win and then they stop really, grinding as hard and stop really pushing for it because they don't have that to work for anymore. What are you guys doing to make sure that doesn't happen this time?
I mean, the main goals for us is LAN. That's all we think about. So that'll keep us motivated for as long as I can think about, really. It's just LAN. That's all we want. Everyone wants to play on LAN. Everyone wants to win a LAN. Until we win a LAN, the motivation's going to be sky high, really.
Well, this is the time where I give the winners a chance to just shout out to the world. It's been a while since we've had a new face on here doing this. So the floor is yours to whatever you want to say out to the world.
I mean, to all the Oxygen fans, thanks for supporting us. This is just the start. Majors coming up, hopefully. So hopefully we'll see you there and we'll get a dub. Get a dub for the boys.
Let's go and send congrats to the rest of the team for us, Billy. And thanks for joining us once again. Congratulations to the team on the regional win.
Thank you.
Billy from Oxygen, looking to get some dubs for the boys. They're excited. They look motivated. They look happy. We had Archie on all day, Corelli. He seemed excited and stoked for the trajectory today. So it looks overall the vibes are on a positive side for the team, of course.
Yeah, I have our program feed right over my Twitter. I just saw Archie tweet 20 hours past 2 wins, LOL. I don't know if that's actually true or not, but he's playing into it a little bit. And hey, win's a win. You can't get on his case for that.
Yeah, well, this has been a wild weekend of European Rocket League. We started with everything close. Then we got our teams we thought we would see here, and then it fell apart again in the final bracket here, in the single elimination. So now that we've seen these teams hit the field, let's get some final thoughts, because our broadcast is done for this first European Fall Open. So starting at the other end, we'll go down the line as we usually do. Johnny, kick us off.
Well, first things first, I have just checked Archie's team profile. He's on 60.2 hours past 2, so a little bit of exaggeration there, very much playing into that one. I'm hoping we get to see more of that from Oxygen. I'm excited to see teams like BDS and Moist bounce back. I'm sure they will. Karmine Corp looked phenomenal today. I'm sure they're going to be a threat in all the tournaments moving on. G1, Quadrant, all looking scary. Team Liquid as well. I think there's a lot of teams in Europe who are going to be making strides as the split continues. Everybody now chasing Oxygen, and we'll see who can catch up.
Yeah, just sort of more of what Johnny said, really, in terms of this is the starting product that we're getting from a lot of these teams, and they have got 2 weeks now to really figure it out, because that third tournament that we have is not open qualification. You need to be in the top 16 of points if you want to be getting over there. So for everybody that, let's say, did not make top 4, it is work time. If you made top 4, especially those teams in third and fourth that went out in the semifinals today, that's a vulnerable spot still to find yourself in. But for Oxygen and Casey, this is now a fantastic spot for them to be in, and they can work on it from here.
Yeah, for the top teams here, especially the top 4, they're in a really, really good spot. There's a lot of players as well that maybe didn't make it to this top 8 that were a ton of fun to watch throughout the Swiss stage of this this format here. I'm also really excited to see G1 next time around. I really like that team personally. I have a lot of fun watching them. And then I don't know if we got the best from Team Liquid, but again, a lot of people are putting Liquid in their top 5, top 4, and I would love to see them make a top 4 in the next regional as well. So if you're a European fan, you have a lot to be excited for coming up.
No, that's exactly it. The good TLDR is that there's going to be some exciting Rocket League coming your way in the European region. But that is it for the European Fall Open. Congratulations again to Oxygen for the regional win. Join us next week for North America. And don't forget, First Touch is back this Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern, and CRL at 7:30 Eastern on Thursday. On behalf of everyone here, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you very soon.
Control. You think you do, but you really